Hello, everyone. Welcome to the hello, everyone. Welcome to Watch Sicko, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 best cartoons of our childhood. I'm Bears fan, alongside my partners in Mojo. Uh,
Hmm. Yes, the uh the Watch Sickos has taken over this channel completely, and it has taken over um my identity because I am no longer Nickman. I am now Nick Mojo.
oh, and I'm Bear Mojo. My bad.
And I am Mojo Aura. Sorry, Watch Aura. I am
Or
Watch Aura, and today we're gonna talk about cartoons. But first, we have a sicko's warning, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any money placed into the UFL, we have a warning for you. All of us have agreed on 2 games in the terms of Pick'em's realms. Yes, 10 people have agreed to pick the Arlington Defenders. No, wait, sorry. The Arlington Renegades to beat the Houston Roughnecks and the St. Louis Battlehawks to beat the San Antonio Brahmas. If you have money on Sunday on any of these teams, we highly recommend you withdraw your money and maybe place it on the like 10% of it on the other guys. We've cursed teams before. We're not afraid to do it again.
and if you don't listen to us, we'll take it one step further. We'll curse your mother.
This has been a warning. If you do any of the gambling, you now know where to not put your money in. This has been a sicko's warning.
Man, they really need to get a new weather guy. That current one sucks.
Agreed.
Anywho, so some of you may be asking, where did this idea come from? Simply put, let's recap all the things that happened in sports this week. Nothing. Nothing happened. So we're bored. So we want to do I was like, hey guys, you remember our childhood? Let's go back and let's talk about at least some of the cartoons that we liked growing up, and let's argue about to see which one's objective opinions are better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what happens when we get bored at work.
LOL.
Correct. This is so welcome to Watch Sickos. So we're gonna go with, around, have a gentleman-like discussion with also informing the fine people of the Great Eight Watch. We are officially on the Great Eight Watch here, as Ovechkin is 2 goals away from overtaking Wayne Gretzky's record, and I will refrain from calling him a traitor for one day.
By
Tomorrow
the
he'll be
way,
a traitor.
worth noting regarding this list. This is, for me at least, I don't know about y'all, but for me at least, this is not what I view as like the best cartoons. This is what I view as like my favorite cartoons growing up, like what I watched the most when growing up. This is basically what this list is. Like,
Oh yeah, same
if
here. Same
if I want to
here.
do a if I want to do a best of list, I can do that another time. But this is more just, going back into the nostalgia trip, and just, looking back and seeing, like, I enjoyed this. I'd like to talk about it.
Get ready to get hit with a nostalgia overload, chat. Oh.
Get ready to get hit with a Biden blast.
Mhm.
Oh no! We have a different one now. Get ready for the Trump tariff.
Oh God.
You haven't faced my wrath enough, liberal. Face my Trump tariff.
I am saddened by that now I'm sad.
Yes,
because
face the power of this gold card that I bought.
now that you're orange with a wig did some tomfoolery, you know, fluffed around and found out, you know, because of that fucking orange, I'm probably not going to be able to get, I'm really not in range, huh? Because of that stinking orange, you know, I'm not probably,
Yeah,
I don't think I'll be able to get a
completely
Switch
understandable.
2
Completely
because,
understandable as well.
Canadians might be, impacted by the Trump tariffs, and it could come at the cost of our getting the Switch too. So I mean, look, people could be up. You have absolutely all the right to be upset about the Switch prices. In short, they've caught up to everybody else. They're now caught up to what the prices are for everybody else. It sucks because I mean, the new Mario Kart looks kind of fucking cool, and I want to play the new Mario Kart. But because of the orange with the wig, he says otherwise. And keep in mind, I'm Canadian. But these tariffs impact all. They impact all. Canadians are gonna hit it hard too. Just the only hope that I get is that the U.S. dollar like if the Canadian can come to the 85%, well 85 cents US, I'll be happy. Because the US to Canadian dollar has well let's take a look since I last time I've checked with it. No, you guys will be fine. The Canadian dollar went down a cent. It was up to 71 yesterday. It's at 70 today. I mean, the real sign of everything being like totally fucked is if the Canadian dollar reaches par in the United States. That's how you know it's how doomed the states are.
Oh yeah, that would be horrific.
And then I would literally get a Trump with I would literally just have the Canadian dollar is at par, and I would put a Trump sticker that said I did that. My turn to be toxic.
God damn.
Regardless, we'll kind of explain the format of how the top 10 list is gonna go. Are you wanting it to do in terms of L's of the year, Luke, where we hash it out? Or do you just want it to be like we each have our own separate thing? I mean,
I'm pretty sure you can go first, Nick can go second, I can go last. Here's our 10s, here's our 9s, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
That's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Well, alrighty. I kind of got put on the spot here because, honestly, I was kind of thinking because this number 10 spot is kind of weird. So I'm gonna go with something probably on a little lower end, but I enjoyed. For me, for my number 10 spot, and something I'm gonna put down. I think Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb is like the perfect. Like, for me, Phineas and Ferb was always good. It was never like the highest of high tiers, but look, I'm just saying, you could put on Phineas and Ferb at any time and have a good time. At least for me personally. It was never the greatest, but it was never like the worst. It was like a solid 7 to 8 out of 10. Its peaks for me were 7s and 8s, and its lows for me were like 7s and 8s. At least that's what for me personally. It's just I get a lot of people are like, oh, Phineas and Ferb, like that's one of the greatest. I will say this though, Phineas and Ferb did carry not Cartoon Network, Disney Channel's animation for a long time. Like it really helped carry that, even during the fucking Fish Hooks days. Oh god.
Is it weird to say I liked Fish Hooks? Fish Hooks was
It's fine, but like Fish Hooks, it just looks off.
It's just for a while. I feel like Phineas and Ferb really didn't have any competition. Until, I mean, granted, I feel like around the mid 2010s it started, or like around the time where Phineas and Ferb started to like reach its ending point is when it started to get competition. But yeah, it took a while.
I mean, they got collaboration with Star Wars and Marvel. That's hard to
True.
do, and I've yet to
That
see
is true.
Disney series come close to that for in terms of animation.
Well, I mean, granted, a lot of that though was just Disney purchasing stuff and letting everyone know, hey, we own this stuff now. But I get where you're coming from. I think it's a perfectly okay cartoon. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's like the GOAT, but honestly, if you want to ask me where I would put it, I think in Disney Channel animation terms, it's probably top 3, top 5. At least I'd say.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh boy. So for my number 10, I've really thought about how to put this around here because, when I was young, I would get to watch shows like this, and they were enjoyable, and I mean, going back and seeing them, I've been like, I wanted to see how well these shows like this have aged, and looking back at it, they have aged very well. Where even as someone that's basically an adult, I look back at this and it's like, damn, these shows are still really entertaining. And the show I'm talking about here at number 10 for me, my first show for favorite childhood shows, I have the Magic School Bus.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Like for
interesting.
Like, honestly, the thing with the Magic School Bus is I would get to watch it in elementary school, and it was one of, like, in terms of, like, educational shows and all that, it was one of the top picks, and for good reason. The Magic School Bus is a damn good show, and it's very entertaining. Like, it's educational in a way that not only educates the viewer, but it's also entertaining, and it really gives you a good time. Like, I mean, it really, really gives you a good time, and it's actually fun to watch something like that. So I had a lot of fun watching it when I was younger, and looking back at it, it's like, you know what? This show's held up really well, and the theme song is an all-time classic. So for me, it was basically like I was considering what to put at number 10 because it's like, I want something to represent the fact that, this is childhood shows we're talking about. And for me, it was like, I think it was either this or Arthur that I considered picking, which Arthur is another very strong show. And it's like, it is what it is. It's just, I have a lot of memories of watching the Magic School Bus at school when I was in elementary school. And yeah, for me, it's held up really well.
I just want to sit here and say this. I get we're kind of talking about childhood shows, but honestly, I'm for me, I wouldn't put it there because the Magic School Bus wasn't something I watched a lot as a kid. But even if I did, even if we put something, because I guess we could probably count like Tim and Moby since that was animation. But
Yeah,
like
that was more like
realist,
I feel like that was more skits, or it was less a show and more just videos, in my opinion.
I guess. But like I don't know. I would like. Here's the thing. I would sit down and probably watch an episode of like because the way that I did it, I would probably still sit down and watch an episode of Phineas and Ferb on of my own fruition. Now Magic School Bus, probably not. You probably couldn't get me to watch that. In all
Once
honesty,
again, I'm not talking about watching now. I'm talking about my childhood. That's the
I,
thing. I'm talking about my
I see.
childhood.
I see. I
It's
I
just I
get
went
though.
back to see some of it, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, this holds up pretty well, and that's fine by me. It's just I wanted to pick one of those. Like I was wanting to pick one of these shows just to have on the list because it's like, hey, it's stuff I watched during my childhood. It would probably be good to have that represented on the list.
I mean, especially
That's
that
fair.
too is that show's still shown to kids today. That shows
Mhm.
how reliable it's been. It's a show that's it's aged very well in terms
Mhm.
of what I see growing up. Like when you need to teach students something, and you weren't so sure how to really teach kids that Magic School Bus is all reliable. That hits my millennial brain like crack. I always loved Magic School Bus days. They were really, really good. And it was a cartoon that I think has aged, because if it's something that teachers still use today, then you know you've done something right, especially when producing said cartoon.
Yeah, I guess that is a really fair thing to say. For me, when I took my lesson, I took in childhood, but also would I watch it again? So like that's kind of how I kind of factored mine in. But
that's fair.
I get why people would put it in. Granted, though, I will say our classroom was always more of a Bill Nye classroom more than a Magic School Bus classroom.
That's fair. I mean, hey, that's more than fair.
Yeah, Luke.
All right. Well, I will have quite an interesting pick for my number 10 spot. I'm gonna go with the VeggieTales. You know, getting hit with a nostalgic blast of Magic School Bus. I was gonna put a different cartoon at 10, but I think that 10th spot is something that's like really reminiscent, something that kids are still going to be using today. Especially one of the things I really watched on YouTube was the big ideas. There was somebody that captured all the stuff that like big ideas, the hoops and bounds, especially the intellectual property of VeggieTales. The fact that it was still being made recently, going back to its biblical roots, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, I love VeggieTales. It was, I grew up as a Christian. We have a lot of the VeggieTales still on VHS still. So we still have that still going. We still have that. We still own some of those. I mean, probably one of my favorite movies as a kid was the VeggieTales, the Jonah movie. And even then, the movie that they made, their other movie, The Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, was a great movie that they used as a side characters from the Jonah movie. So that was all really, really, really well done. I really like I really like that they were able to retell biblical classics for kids, and then they parodied Lord of the Rings, going with Lord of the Beans. They've done really good at making kid-friendly entertainment for all kids. And I mean, who loves silly songs with Larry? The part of the show where Larry comes out and sings a silly song. It was a fun time. The fact that even then, for Bible stuff with kids, they were in productions of another show. I can't remember who it was. And it was most of the VeggieTales actors were retained and were used for those for Sunday school, which I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really neat. I don't know what it's called, but it was from. I wasn't owned by Big Ideas because I think it was around when Big Ideas went under, and the creator of VeggieTales did something else instead because he just didn't own the IP. But I think now he does, or somebody does, and they're allowing him to produce stuff for it. But yeah, VeggieTales has been something that's been very strong, especially in my early Christian days as a Christian. Lovely spit of stuff that they have there. Stuff that I'll probably even show my kids to this day. I liked what they've done. They did it right. Except they didn't tell me how to eat my vegetables. What's your number 9, Taegan?
I do want to kind of go over your point real quick, if you actually don't mind. I will say this. I think my thing with VeggieTales, and I think the biggest credit I can give it, in the age where like a lot of Christian media at the time was very much focused on making you fear God, VeggieTales didn't make you do that. It just made you feel like the welcome.
Well,
Like honestly,
I think a lot of the things with, I think when stuff that was geared towards children, there was a wide range of stuff. Like it was mostly around the VeggieTales era. You had cassettes. I'm trying to remember. It was like some with the Odyssey Adventures, which are also portraying biblical lessons. But like there was like JJ the Jet Plane too. But nobody ever did it right like the VeggieTales. And I think for kids it was less about fear mongering. If you wanted to do the fear mongering propaganda nonsense, you went to conventions and stuff with the youth group. That's when they got into the fear mongering. It was never the kids shows. It was the shows. It was the like stuff like Dare to Share. Have you ever done to Dare to Share? I did that twice. I thought what they did was cool. And then I aged and I was like, oh dear God, this was nothing but propaganda. Oh, fun.
yeah.
It's all fear mongering propaganda nonsense is what they do with which like again as a Christian that's not how you do convert people at all. Fear mongering is, in my opinion, just never worked. It makes you look a lot worse than good. But I mean, VeggieTales never did that. It was all about just retelling stories for kids in a child-friendly manner, parodying stuff really well too. I mean, the Jonah movie, dude, that thing's still a hit to this day. Still a hit. Yeah, Taegan, what's your number 9?
Well, with all like the shows that we're talking about when we were younger, I actually had to audible real quick because honestly, I didn't I kind of forgot about it until we like brought that stuff up, and then I was like, oh fuck yeah, that did exist. So for my number 9, I'm gonna go with one of my goats growing up, Wow Wow Wubs. Honestly, I'm just gonna be real. If you don't fuck with Wow Wow Wubsy, I don't think I can fuck with you. That show was so goated growing up. Anyone who says otherwise is just a fraud, honestly. Like, genuinely. How can you hate a show about, like, a little fucking, I, I don't even know what
Mouse.
he is. Like, a little mouse and his friends. Not to mention, too, if we're talking about, like, theme songs, Wow Wow Wubsy's theme is peak. Peak. Like, I listened to it the other day, and it was like, oh, God, that... Like, not to, like, sound, like, super overreactive or something, but, like, it is a banger theme. Like, it's up there with, like, Jimmy Neutron's theme. Like, it's fucking good. Not to mention, too, like, I used to watch it a lot with, like, my father, and it's just, like... Yeah. I do have a funny story that will pertain to Wow Wow Wubs, which is gonna be taking a sort of rated R turn. So when I was growing up, I used to wake up in the middle of the night as kids do, and go and watch watch TV out in the living room because like I can't go back to sleep because I'm a child and I'm bored. So what I used to do is like we used to have the HBO channel. So I would try to find Wow Wow Wubsy, and it would just be so it would just so happen to be on at 3 a.m. The issue is I don't think I exactly knew how to spell it. So growing up, I for a very long time unintentionally bought porn.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, so eventually my parents had to put parental locks on it just so I don't like, run up their fucking credit card for me accidentally buying porn at 3 years old. But yeah, all in all of this to say is that if like 3-year-old me was accidentally buying porn just to watch Wow Wow Wubsy, it's one of the greatest of all time.
That's one hell of a way to develop some lore with a show. Truly. Anyways,
I
it's
was
my
looking at the
turn.
wiki.
I'm just saying, he loves to live in a tree and he likes to play. He has a busy tail
2
and he likes
seasons,
it that
52
way.
episodes, 2 special. I never heard of Wow Wow Wubsy in my.
I've heard of it.
It's probably because it was. Oh, Tiara Strong was a voice actress.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it.
I will say this though,
I've
there
heard
was
of
like
it.
a Nickelodeon Flash game that I used to play all the time, where you had to catch like a shit ton of rings on Wubsy's tail. That shit was so peak growing up. I missed a lot of those old
Ovechkin, did
Flash
Ovechkin
games
score
growing up.
again?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ovechkin's 1 away! He's 1 away!
Oh yeah, we love to see it.
Ovechkin's 1 away! Adam, suck it! He's getting a fucking hat trick tonight! I fucking called it!
Anyways, while that happens, while that greatness is happening in the background, my number 9 for shows I enjoyed in my childhood, you know, I feel like in terms of growing up and watching cartoons, I gotta give respect to the classics that came along the way and really influenced and helped make make cartoons into what they were. And on that topic, I'm talking about Looney Tunes. And let me make it clear, when I say Looney Tunes, I'm also transitioning this because Looney Tunes, like OG Looney Tunes, it still holds up. Like, I'm being dead serious. It still holds up. Like, I go back and watch. I can go on YouTube, watch some Looney Tunes clips. It still holds up. Like, there are truly, truly some hilarious moments that still to this day can make me laugh from Looney Tunes. Like the one toothpaste joke with featuring Bugs Bunny and Daffy. It is absolutely goated. But anyways, in terms of Looney Tunes, because I love the OG Looney Tunes, but in terms of like I respect the OG Looney Tunes, but in terms of childhood shows that I watched, can never go wrong with my number 9 pick, The Looney Tunes Show.
Ooh, that was a
Are we
good one
talking about
show.
what year are we talking? What year was this one Rage of
Early 2011, the early 2010s version, like
Okay,
they had on Cartoon Network.
Okay.
Like the one that featured basically was like kind of like a sitcom, like basically like a sitcom version with Bugs, Daffy and crap, I'm trying to remember who else because this is like one of the few that actually Vanessa, yeah, one of the few that actually features her, and it's like of all of the Looney Tunes, like remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call them. Of all like the series to come out, this is honestly probably the best one of them all. Because simply put, it's like it is hilarious. Like it is amazing how funny this show is, and the fact that they managed to do this with such iconic characters and make a very, very fun show to watch. It's like God damn, there's a good reason why the Looney Tunes show is very much hailed among, many circles of the animation community because it's a really enjoyable show. The characters are fun, the stories are fun, and it feels unique in a way that, trying to make something unique out of a franchise as long as Looney Tunes, that can be really tough. But they managed to do that here, and yeah, it's one of my favorite shows to watch during my childhood, even if it was kind of short in terms of its run because it only lasted like 2 years. But at the same time, gotta give praise where praise is due. Looney Tunes show is pretty fucking good.
I love.
Oh, it is good.
The fact the Looney Tunes just isn't done amazing stuff for a show that is as old as our grandparents, a show that has parodied Nazi Germany. Like, they have had incredible staying power. And the thing that I will always say is a great sign of a cartoon is if people are still quoting or referencing the stuff that you do to this day, I think you've done something. You've done
I think
something.
my thing
Absolutely.
I think the thing with the Looney Tunes show, and something that I will kind of say, like early 2010s Cartoon Network was a weird time. Not to say that it was bad, but like it's rough to get a foot in during a time where all these new young shows are coming out. Like Steven Universe premiered at that time, Regular Show appeared at that time, Adventure Time premiered at that time. Fucking shit like Uncle Grandpa, fucking Clarence, like the early 2010s of Cartoon Network, like it like it was like it had an all-star lineup of shows. It's insane. And it just sucks that Looney Tunes was just the one that kicked the bucket because it was the least serialized one out of all of them.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's like, it's worth bringing up the Looney Tunes topic because it's a show, it's a franchise that deserves all the respect that it deserves for being such an iconic and inspirational franchise for, so much of animation. And the fact that Warner Brothers treats it the way it does is quite unfortunate.
Warner Bros. Is not keep it alive, apparently. Ugh. Our time fucks are like Disney. We could. Ugh.
Well, Mr. Mojo, I mean Mr. Watch, you're up next.
All right, you guys have never heard of this before, but this was the absolute one of my favorite. They did remake this series, but I believe it only lasted one season. Battle Beat 'em on, man. Oh my goodness. I loved Battle Beat 'em on. I loved it. I would always come home after a long day of school. I would turn on to YTV, new episode of Battle Beat 'em on every single day. I guess that's when Canada was able to air things daily. They were able to air things daily back then. The same thing with Pokemon. Really, they were behind the USA air dates, but I digress. I really loved Battle Beat 'em on growing up. It was something that the toy line was really cool. You had you had like a gun that was in the form of a beast, and you would shoot little about size like marbles, like size of a marble at each other. You would hit the target, you would knock them, you would hit a target that was on the Battle Beat 'em on. If you hit the target and the top knocked off, you would win. I really liked the stuff that they did. I really liked the characters that they had. It was without a doubt one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid. One of the rare ones that I'm really happy that we had, because I did not have the Disney Channel growing up. I did not have Cartoon Network or Teletoon. I didn't have those until I was 13. I didn't have those channels until I was 3rd. But all I had was YTV, and for what I got, it was probably one of my favorite. What that there was absolutely one of my favorites growing up. I really loved Battle Beat 'em on, and I mean, I watched the. I was lucky enough to where they tried to reboot it, and the rebooted version was okay, I guess. They didn't do any of the cool OG stuff that they did, but it was still something that was a part of my really big part of my childhood. Wasn't the king pillars of children's anime growing up, but something that does have a nice place.
As you say that, I was looking up some of the stuff. Apparently, the guy who voices the main protagonist, Nick, guess who else he voices?
Who else?
Monokuma.
Oh God.
That is some incredibly painful fucking fucking deep reference. But from the sounds of it, I've never heard of this show. And in my brain, all I can think of, oh, so it's just fucking Bakugan, but instead of loading bullets, they load up their Bakugan into fucking guns and then
They
shoot
shoot
them.
it at each other. Like,
Yeah,
the thing
I
is,
figured
like,
that's what
I
it
quote the
was.
first season, the second season, I had no idea what the fuck they were doing. I think a lot of people, like, it only lasted 2 seasons, and then there was an attempted reboot that didn't work out. But yeah, I mean, it's not on the pillars. Wasn't on the pillars of wasn't on the pillars of the anime for children, but it is on my pillar. It was mostly an attempt at children's version of like a western or a gunslinger idea with it. The first, like, if you ever have the time with it, like the first season, I think is really good. You can miss the second. You're not missing. But as an attempt of
Gotcha.
a gunslinging western for kids, I think they did a really good job. And it was airing when I was 8 or 7 years old. So it only lasted 2 seasons, which is probably why you never heard it.
Yeah, but well, I guess that means it's my go again. Well, for my number 8, um, this was another tough one for me. Here's a little uh inner note. I was more of a Cartoon Network and Nick kid more than a Disney kid. I never was the biggest fan of a lot of Disney stuff. And spoilers for the rest of my stuff. I don't think I'll be dipping back into the Disney mines for a while. But at number 8, I'm gonna put Gravity Falls. Now, I'm sure all of us here has watched Gravity Falls before. There's nothing else that needs to be said. It is a phenomenal show. It is almost a perfect show. I I mostly I have some issues about it. I have a couple, which I'll get into in a bit. But Gravity Falls, just in general, is a funny, witty, just a good show. It's one of the shows where I watched on Disney, and when I saw it go to Disney XC, I was like, oh fuck, they're trying to send out this beautiful masterpiece to fucking die, and it's just
Yeah.
it's a great show. I'm so sad that I didn't get more.
It
I didn't get
lasting 2
more.
seasons is thin.
I get some of it may just be also the creator was like, oh no, that's pretty much all the loose ends to tie up. I get it,
I mean, to
but
be
like,
fair, I also get that Alex Hirsch, he would infamously have a lot of run-ins with the upper management of Disney when it came to what could or couldn't be said in Gravity Falls, and I think that kind of played a role where it was probably like for him, where it's like, okay, I know I'm gonna get a great ending out of this if it goes just 2 seasons. I might as well do this because if I don't, Disney's gonna try and get their grubby hands on this, and I don't want that.
But like the thing you can
yeah,
tell just what certain are willing to let slide. Compare and contrast. Watch Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Watch the first season, and then watch a couple episodes of the Disney produced Avengers series. You will see the difference. Why, like Star Wars, like Star Wars: The Clone Wars, they had people flat out being stabbed in our very eyes. Like they pushed every sort of boundary they could. And then I watched Rebels, which they felt like they were too afraid to go down a certain type of route. So I could agree with Alex Hirsch going like, you know what, I only need 2 seasons. But like where the real money is the longer you can keep going, the better. Now I can understand why you want to not go long, but it is something that, especially for Disney, you want to try and defend and keep your creative intellectual property, which is something that Disney doesn't do. Because I think around that time, Disney likes to play things really safe. If
Hmm.
they like
Yeah.
being super safe with things, that's just how they are, and just how you can compare just 2 sets of TV. It's more clear of what direction your company is wanting to go in versus everybody else. Like, especially think of like Disney kids who are in like TV shows. I know it's like about cartoons. They are literally trained to be how to act and behave in the public eye growing up because they want to stay away from crime. There's stories of actors who have been in DUIs and Disney never works with them.
Yeah, it's a rough. It is a rough business for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things though, because I still want to kind of be on this. I was looking through Alex Hirsch's Wikipedia page, and then I saw he has like a voice a guest appearance on like a Simpsons episode, and I click on the episode, and then I see special guest appearances, and then it has Scott fucking Hansen from fucking Red Zone fame, and under it is fucking Alex Hirsch as Bill Cipher. I'm
Hmm.
sorry. I had him. I almost mentally took a double take. Like, what? What? Now it's time for the controversial part of this all. I'm gonna flat out say it. I get Mabel's character. You are allowed to dislike a character because of their actions, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. I personally do not like Mabel because I think she is a good bit more selfish than most other characters in the season. Yes, I understand she's young, she's going to make mistakes. I get that. That's not the issue I have with. I think my issue with her, I just think I think Dipper is often on the other end of the stick more often than not than Mabel, and it really just feels like Dipper kind of gets shafted over her.
Yeah, I mean it, it really depends on how you just view the character in general. I feel like because I get that, but also I feel like that's kind of the point of Mabel's character. Like she's like that. That's the point of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
But that's
And
just
fine
me.
with what they did with Mabel. Um, because the key thing is like, how do we really build? Like, I think they really built the world building was going to be key if you want to do somebody like Mabel. It was like, hey, we have somebody who's going to be on the opposite end. We've got Dipper who is fully just immersed into this world of where he is right now, and he is fully there to solve the mystery. What is his sister? And then they build the world around his sister's quirky personalities, which I think is really what they show it very, very well.
Mm. Yeah.
And it's not everybody needs to be like, it doesn't have to be like everybody's like super serious into this. Like, I think what made Brickleberry work out so well was everybody had their own quirk to it, and each time their quirks were used, they their characteristics were able to shine through and time every single time we saw them on. I think it's what helped them the most. Because if you're gonna complain about Mabel, you're gonna complain about Grunk.
oh no, Grunkle State. Here's the thing. I just don't think Mabel is that charming. I think she has moments, of course, but it's just I don't know. It feels like she changes the least out of all of it.
Well, nobody really changes. Nobody changes.
Yeah,
I
It's
I
nobody
don't know.
ever changes in that.
I disagree. Because for me, like Grunkle Stan going from like not knowing about the books to knowing about the books, that is a
Knowing about that,
change.
he knew about it the whole time. I think deep down he knew about it the whole time. He knew about the
Yeah.
books the whole entire time. He was jealous of his twin brother or brother. But he was jealous of his brother.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with how they presented it. I think it's again, I think you're grasping at straws here. That's just
Yeah,
me
like
though.
I get the I get the the issue you have with it. It's just for me, it's like, I get I see the point here, and you know what? It's nothing. It's not even that major of an issue for me. So, for me with Mabel, it's like, yeah, it is what it is. But that's just my take.
Hey, good news, everybody! The Cincinnati Reds record of losing 1-0 games is over. They're only losing 3-0.
LOL.
We love to see it.
uh,
Um. Anyways, if that is
and
if that is
I
the
want to add one more
transition.
thing to what makes Brickleberry so special was that everything from start to finish had a mystery in it. Whether it was for you, the viewer, to solve, or for them to tell the story throughout the show. They had clues hidden in the credits, in the theme song, little Easter eggs that they were able to put
You,
into the show that I think made it that much special. There's a lot of passion behind it. I really liked what
Luke,
what it did.
you said Brickleberry
I said
twice.
fuck. Gravity Falls. Sorry, I meant to say Gravity Falls.
I think
Sorry.
we now know who. I think we know what Luke's number 8 is.
It's not. It's not.
Oh yeah.
Brickleberry. It's not Brickleberry.
Oh my.
Brickleberry's
It,
not on the list. Sorry,
Oh,
I mixed up the
oh
two
God.
themes. I mixed up. Sorry, I have brain dyslexia or some shit. All right,
that's
It's okay. Anyways,
Nick.
yeah. Anyways, time for me to save this. Anyways, for my number 8, we're not leaving the Disney topic because for me at number 8, I have Phineas and Ferb, and Phineas and Ferb is one of those shows that Taegan mentioned this, and I completely agree with it. It's one of those shows where it's like, in terms of like the best episodes, is it as great as other shows? Probably not. But in terms of worst episodes of Phineas and Ferb, it's a lot better than a lot of other shows and what their worst episodes are. Like Phineas and Ferb is one of the most consistent like cartoons that I have really ever seen. Like it's consistently entertaining. It knows how to be entertaining. It knows how to find a brilliant idea and make it work. Make it into an episode that's just fun for the viewer to watch. And for me as a child, really enjoyable. Like, it's just the concept of Phineas and Ferb, and it's just there's so much they're able to do with it, and just so much of it works. Like the fact that and that's not even getting into the stuff with Barry the Platypus, which is always some of my favorite stuff from Phineas and Ferb. And yeah, it's like there's not really much to say about Phineas and Ferb outside of that because it's like it's for me. I think it's a great show. I don't think it's the best Disney show, but it's a great show that's very consistent and always brings something new or something unique to each episode, and I like that. I respect that, and I was never really much of like a Disney kid growing up in terms of Disney Channel and all that. It just wasn't really my thing, but with the exception of another show on this list, Phineas and Ferb really knew how to break that mold for me when it came to me and Disney shows.
yeah, I pretty much talked about Phineas and Ferb and what I said. I still stand by my statement.
Number 8 in the cartoon world. Teen Titans, the original. I grew up with Teen Titans. I really enjoyed Saturday mornings. The one 3-part special where it was Raven's birthday, where her father took over, and that hellscape that was created. I really loved that. I love the dark and gritty tone that the team had. It was something to where, like, something that came close to was like, I didn't grow up watching it, but I watched recently a little bit of Young Justice. Like, this has a little bit of Teen Titans esque too, and it's something that at least DC's been able to do. Sure, their movies suck, but you know what? One thing they're able to do well is their cartoons. They can do a really good cartoon. And I mean, to the point where, I mean, people are still griping about, why don't they just go to the old Teen Titans? I'm fine with them, with the modern remake. Make them fun. They can make them fun. It's okay. And they still have the 4 voice actors that played the Teen Titans. Back in my day, I like the theme song around it. I love the Western anime aesthetic of it. I think it did a really good job especially for comic book fans. And I easily have it in what it was one of like my favorite shows growing up as a kid was certainly Teen Titans. Always in that 5:30 slot for a new episode on YTV. Oh, great times. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
completely agree with you on DC and their animation. Like, for as much of a clusterfuck as DC can be when it comes to making films, they really always know how to make great animated shows, and Teen Titans is no exception.
Yeah. My thing is with Teen Titans, I love it. It's just I wish we didn't end it off on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I
That-
know.
That whole thing, like I get realistically the whole thing with Tara was never going to happen. But dude, that being the last scene of a show is rough. Because there is
Yeah.
still so much left.
I absolutely agree. There's a lot that you could still do with it, but I think a lot of the times, like, there's only so few SpongeBob's of the world, and I'll just in Black Caps make it 5-3 goal score, not Ovechkin, but
Damn.
But you're right. Yeah, sometimes you just wish it just didn't end on a cliffhanger. But one of the things that I really learned, and ironically, it takes the actor of Shane, former Disney actor for like 1 or 2 things, Shane Tupp, noted is that a lot of businesses, especially of what these networks do, it is amazing if you can get a 4th season, even if your project is considered to be one of like the few good ones. Like there are so few like SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, Fairly Odd Parents lasted as long as it did. There are like even like I consider like Phineas and Ferb. The fact that we're getting a reboot and another many episodes of Phineas and Ferb, I consider to be a bloody miracle. I didn't think that was gonna happen. And just to the whims of the networks, it's really hard to go past four seasons of a TV show. It is, no matter how good it is, it's hard. So to see Teen Titans last as long as it did, even then, it also did get a reboot that everybody that, the hardcore fans are like, ugh, this is so unserious and silly and goofy. But sometimes it can be, you're allowed to be a silly and goofy. Your silly and goofy self. But Teen Titans, the OG Teen Titans, I think they were incredibly well done. You wish you had more of it. There's a reason why people ask for more of it, but that's just sometimes they lose to the whims and wills of their supreme network overlords. Sometimes it just happens. It's rare to see TV shows go past 4 seasons. Very rare. You have to be like the pillar being on like a shrine for it to happen. It's hard, but if you can do it, man, there's more to you.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
agreed. It's just, I will say about Teen Titans and the whole that versus Teen Titans Go. My issue with Teen Titans Go isn't that they're unserious. I'm more than okay with them doing the concept of like, having just this goofy, unserious show where it's like they're basically at home doing silly, funny things that you wouldn't expect them to do. I can understand that. I'm more than fine with the concept, and it seems at the very least, unlike other Cartoon Network reboots, they got the original cast and the people to make this show. At least they did that. At least they did their due service there. I just wish, in terms of like, this is just childhood me talking, because I do remember watching Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, and I just wish Teen Titans Go was funnier, but that's my main issue with it. I mean, the time for me to have bitched about Teen Titans Go was well over 6 years ago. That time has long passed for me, and it's just like the only thing I can say about that is like, you know what? At the very least, they did more with this reboot than other reboots that Cartoon Network would go on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just lose to your network overlords.
Huh?
It
True.
happens. We wish we had more of it, but it happens. And before we move on, Taegan, just wait 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ovechkin will not break the record tonight. All right, you can go. What's your number
Damn.
8? Or, right, 8.
Or number
yeah.
7.
Number 7.
Sorry.
Well, my number 7 is I really want to put this higher, but I know that I can't put it higher in good faith just because these shows are just so much better. And at number 7, I have King of the Hill.
Ooh.
I want to put King of the Hill higher. I want to. I feel bad not putting it higher. I feel so bad not putting it higher. It's just it's it's not it's gonna be hard to. There's so many good shows, and it's not like King of the Hill is a bad show. It's just it's a rough show. It's hard to rate because it's like how are you gonna put it up against like the show SpongeBob, all that stuff? It is like a damn near 10 out of 10 show. I even like the later seasons. I think the later seasons are good.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. It's rough. I feel bad not being able to put it higher. But yeah, but in more of just why I put it up here. I mean, how are you not going to like God damn it, Bobby? Like how? Like how are you not gonna like that? Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a picture of a goddamn sicko.
I mean, I've seen, like, even looking at, like, stuff from, like, short. There was a really good one where he's teaching people about the strengths of not going corporate, of the stuff that you can do when you want to be a day for a non-profit business. I really like it. But I really like what King of the Hills does. It's like he's not this our main protagonist isn't just some ass drinking beer. He's genuinely trying to grow as a father and a character, and that's something that I really liked about what they did for King of the Hill. Because so much, oftentimes, like for like areas that air on like Fox Animation dominations, like the father figure is just a, and
Yeah. It
sometimes
really
it's.
is.
I really wish that more people just would stray away from like that kind of theme, you know. It's you could be genuinely a good person. You can,
Yeah,
and
it's
people
just
still like it.
yeah, it's such a lazy theme that's been overdone to death, and the fact of the matter is, even the shows that initially did it well have long-term wise gone on to suffer because of it, because there's only so much you can do with it. And it's just Yeah, I really wish. I'm not saying that shows need to copy the Canada Hill approach. I'm not saying you need to do that, but I really wish that shows would like. It felt like it feels like every new show that Fox tries to put out with animation domination that isn't, the ones it feels like they're trying to copy Family Guy. They're trying to copy the Family Guy approach, except also kind of not do it at the same time, and it just leads to a bad time for them. Like, not everyone does it, of course, but it's just something I've noticed where it just feels like a lot of the shows that Fox has been trying to do that aren't, the main animated shows like Family Guy, Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, American Dad, perhaps, given that's probably coming back. Like, of
Modern
those
American.
shows that isn't that, of those shows that aren't that, it just feels a lot of times they're lazy, but
I
that's
want to.
just a
I
simple
want
approach
to
I
add
see it.
some. The growth of Stan's. Like, if you looked at any of the new TV episodes, you will not recognize the character from the first. Everything, ever since they moved to TBS, they've just become everybody's just so wholesome and likable. Except for Steve,
Mm,
he's kind of an ass.
Yeah,
But
true. That sounds about right for Steve.
it's gonna be interesting to see because I've heard that, especially when we're talking about when American Dad is, Seth MacFarlane has more fun doing American Dad than Family Guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna see how Fox fucks it up because they always fuck up everything. But yeah, I really like what American Dad has done. But it's good that they're picked up again by Fox. I didn't necessarily think TBS was a lot for it. But we got like what 4 or 5 new seasons from it. Many new
I
seasons.
will.
Yeah.
I just want to say this real quick too. Like, there's a reason why people look more fondly on Hank Hill more than any other father in
Mhm.
terms of like animation. It's because objectively Hank Hill is the only good father. Like,
Mhm.
both Homer, fucking
Peter.
Peter, fucking I would even go as far to say Bob, but that's just because I really hate Bob's Burgers. Like, legitimately, like, Hank Hill is the closest to like a real life person than anyone else.
Yeah,
Now,
that's a great way to say it.
yeah. Now I will say this though. Um, I am also. I know you guys mentioned Bob's Burgers, but I'm not sure if any of you guys are gonna bring it up. But I'm just gonna say it now. I think Bob's Burgers fucking blows.
Yeah, we know. We know you think it blows. I've heard your takes on it.
It's a cartoon show. That's where I don't have a.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. I like it, but it's been many years since I've seen it. But you know what? I can give this for Bob's Burgers. It got a movie before Family Guy did, and with how many jokes Family Guy liked to make about Bob's Burgers, I call that karma.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess it's my turn for number 7. And of all the entries I have on this list, I think this is the one that's probably most out of left field, at least in terms of what I really enjoyed watching as a child. And it's just, this is one where I feel like, given the context, it makes a lot of sense, but looking back at it is kind of wild to think about how much I really enjoyed watching this show when I was younger. So, at number 7, I have Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu.
Ooh, that's a funny one. That's a funny one.
Listen,
Hold
listen,
on.
it is funny. It is
It's
funny to look back at it because it is a Lego show. It is a Lego show. It's about, it's Ninjago we're talking about here. They wanted to make a show based off of it, and they did that. And it's about ninjas battling against the forces of evil. You know the drill. And yet, you know, looking back at it, it's kind of amazing that a Lego show, turned out as well as it did, because this show kind of goes hard. Like, there's some really good battles, with the freaking ninjas and all that, and it's like, it's been a while since I've watched this show, so it's it's tough to really talk about it because it's like, damn, this is one of those shows where it's like, man, I really enjoyed this show a lot more than I probably ever would if I tried getting into it now. But it's a fun show. Like, it's fun. It was fun to watch. I like the stories. I like the character development because there is some genuine character development in this show from the likes of Lloyd, um, likes of shoot, who else? Trying to think of who.
Zane.
Zane,
Zane.
yep, Zane. Which speaking of Zane,
I was just gonna say real quick. I'll let you finish it because I think you might be talking about what I'm gonna say.
yeah, speaking of Zane, listen, there's a lot of things there's a lot of really interesting things that come out of this show, but god damn, the fact that they made a death scene as good as they did with Zane, that is pretty impressive. Like, honestly, looking back at it, it is genuinely impressive how the first couple of seasons of the show are genuinely just that compelling. And I just, like, once again, this is from my childhood point of view. Like, if I was to say what I think are the best shows around this time, this would probably not be on the list. But this is my childhood. This is my childhood talking. And for me, I just really enjoyed the show. I thought it was fun.
I want to add one thing too. They have the Ninjago community. It's fairly active online.
Yeah, they are.
I can easily back him up. Like it's not really that much a way out of left field choice. People genuinely loved Ninjago growing up. I think it was even around when the show got made. It was around like Lego. Lego was still just, they couldn't lose. They were nailing
Oh yeah, like I remember watching Cartoon Network and seeing all the damn Lego commercials.
Like, they were nailing their video. I think they were at their rise of just nailing their video games. I'm really glad they did Ninjago because it was their first attempt at a new IP. Did very, very well. That spawned video games, movies, and it was all uniquely done. Like, the early days my early days of YouTube, when I was in a battle league, we hated each other's guts, but we ended up becoming close friends that we still talk to today. I learned that he did stop motion stuff for himself with Ninjago, and I was like, holy crap, I didn't know that, like, the Lego Ninjago fandom online was big and active. That surprised me the most.
Like, honestly, the way you're talking, it's like, yeah, this is a fandom that is a lot bigger than I realized. Like, I know it's an active fandom still, but the way you're saying it, I didn't realize it's still that big, but that makes me really happy that it's still got a big fandom.
Oh, the thing is with Ninjago, Nick, here's the thing, Cartoon Network, they were early adapters to the Tumblr sexy man.
Oh,
and
God.
believe it or not, back in the day, as someone who grew up on the internet, and someone who will defend himself by saying this, there were a lot of Ninjago fangirls. So all I'm going to say is this. You know that one tweet that's like, why is so and so can we make that one thing for so and so for like gays and lesbians? Can we add me into that equation? That's your equivalent.
Yeah, I can already imagine which ninjas were getting the most art.
Also, I just want to say too, I find it really funny that fucking Zane dies. I mean, not Zane dying. I find it really funny that he turns into a fucking robot.
Yeah, he basically Oh god, I cannot believe I'm referencing this. Man basically got the Nekomaru treatment, except a lot
He-
better than him.
Yeah,
He got treated a lot better than him, at least. But
Ninjago's was. I mean, I didn't watch most of it growing up. I think I caught like the early seasons. I caught the early
same
seasons of
here.
it, but yeah, no, Nego Ninjago was really good. Like anything that Lego does, like even with Star Wars, Marvel, they do no wrong. They do no. But that's
Also,
just
I will just say one more thing about Zane's death that must be said. If you want to make a very sad death scene, using flashbacks is one of the best ways to go. Because I'm not gonna lie, that as a child, that shit hit hard. Like, goddamn, that. Like, you want to make a sad death scene, use flashbacks. It will always work.
I will just say this. I think Lloyd is an inherently funny character.
Lloyd is.
He is funny. I mean, listen, you gotta remember this man goes from like a guy that is worried about his like candy. I remember the first season, the early episodes with him where he's most worried about candy, and he just develops into this, completely different character, but very much a very enjoyable character. And I really liked what they did with Lloyd. It is funny looking back at it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, he's just Lord Garmadon's son.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, worth noting that too.
Yeah, he's just the guy that we were like trying to train you to like beat up. Yeah, he's just like his son, and you're gonna train with him now.
And do you know what the funny thing is? Like it's like wasn't it something about like the golden ninja or like the one that used all the weapons? It was Lord Garmadon's son. It wasn't any of the ones that were training under at first. It was
Master Shifu.
It
Yeah.
was Lloyd that was really the main protagonist of all. I like that twist at the end.
Imagine devoting your entire life to this shit and being told, "Yeah, buddy, you aren't the chosen one. Get fucked."
I don't remember what the term was for. Was it the white ninja or
No, it was the golden ninja.
Green. It was
Green
green.
ninja.
Oh, the
Green
green
ninja. It was the
ninja.
green ninja.
Green
I knew it was a color, but I was trying to remember what was. Oh yeah, right. It was the green ninja. You could use all the weapons at once, and it was ironically the son that beats Lord Grumble. I like that twist there. That twist was really well done. I like how they used Lloyd's character growth too. I think that was something that was really well done. They didn't say, "Aha! I am Bowser Jr. and I'm gonna cause terrible things and do my acts of the shenanigans." No, he's just a genuine character, and I'm really glad they went down that.
Yeah, it's just my last point about it is just like the character building in this show, at least for the seasons that I watched of Lego Ninjago. It really is. It's so good, and that's something I really respect for what they were able to do. Is even if this is just like even for it being Lego Ninjago, the fact of the matter is this show has genuinely amazing character development, and it's the reason I feel like it is more than valid for me to put this on the top 10 list.
God, fucking Ninjago. Ninjago just feels like a shitpost of a fucking show, honestly.
It is a show that I did not know that it had a passionate fan base. Like that's something
that's a fact for everyone here. That's a fact for everyone to discover.
That is like I was in one of their communities. I still am. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't
The
know.
wifey got off work, chat.
My wife. So. You got me Starby.
I wanted it.
So it was, yeah. That's just your fun facts of the day. Yeah. Do you have any more comments about Ninjago?
I think I've said everything I need to say.
All I'll say is, I low-key am kind of glad that I dropped a Ninjago growing up because, holy shit, the amount of lore in that show, like, that's too much.
I know
Yeah,
it
that's
has
fair.
lore. Like it's the fact that again, like the fandom is deep. I'm not kidding. It's incredible. Like the rap. If you ever go down the Lego Ninjago rabbit hole, first of all, I feel you. Second of all, you're gonna realize how fucking that lore goes. It's incredible.
I'm just saying, like, if anyone ever wants to make, oh god, okay, I was looking up, I'm just thinking, you talk about lore, you talk about how deep it goes. It's like, from the sounds of it, Ninjago would make an amazing iceberg video. So I look it up, and the first thing I see is the ultimate Ninjago iceberg explained. And this video is nearly 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Like I'm not kidding. Like it's something that it's like Ninjago. Like it might not be something that like a lot of us watch, but like I recognize how deep that fan base goes. It is insane.
Also, I find it really funny too that their fan base is obsessed with Yaoi.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Okay, I think it's my turn for 7.
Yep.
I've been thinking about how the and I'm trying to envision my top 5 right now. This one gets really it's gonna get there. I think number 7. I'm gonna put the Fairly Odd Parents. Some people were SpongeBob fans. Some people were Danny Phantom fans. I preferred Fairly Odd Parents over SpongeBob. Purely because you can blame my mother. She was not a fan of me and my brother watching SpongeBob. She thought it was stupid garbage gunk. Keep in mind, this is when we were in our hyper-Christian phase. Watching SpongeBob was very hard growing up because my mom really didn't approve of it. But what she did approve was the Fairly Odd Parents. And I really loved that show growing up. It was like their big events like Channel Chasers was incredible. Like seasons 2 and 3 had some of the greatest episodes ever done. Even like I always enjoyed like the newer episodes that they did that they always released too. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I wasn't a SpongeBob boy. I was a Fairly Odd. I grew up on the Fairly Odd Parents. I will say though, I don't include the like up to when they did Zoe, and I will add that the reboots that they did it in good respect. That was a very like the reboot that they did on Netflix. I was like, oh no. And then I looked at all the highlights of it and I was like, you know what? They did great with the nostalgia tripping on it. They brought back they like again they respected the property that was the Fairly Odd Parents. But they did do a good job. I really liked Fairly Odd Parents growing up. Cosmo again, guys, just a bunch of quotable quotes. It has the perfect formula with it. And I mean, even then, the specials that they came out of it still kept the show fresh. That's what stood out to me the most. And if you could still do that today, like, again, shame that it didn't keep going, but again, just show that went on for like 10, 11 seasons, which for a show is hard to do. The fact that the Fairly Odd Parents lasted for as long as it did, I mean, you can't deny the power of the Fairly Odd Parents. They were well deserving of a good spot, and I could recommend some people like SpongeBob better. And you know what? That's okay. You're allowed to like SpongeBob, and I'm allowed to like the Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying on that. I mean, Fairly Odd Parents was a show that just missed out on my top 10. It is a show that I really enjoyed watching when I was a child, and there is, as you said, a lot of great things that Fairly Odd Parents did that other shows usually wouldn't do. Like, the specials, like Channel Chasers is an all-time classic. I love the crossover with Jimmy Neutron.
God, I forgot the
Yeah, and
crossovers.
yeah.
Oh my
And it's
god,
like
the crossovers!
it's like, like Fairly Odd Parents, it felt like when Fairly Odd Parents would make a great episode, they weren't just hitting a home run, they were hitting grand slams. And it's like, that's something I can always appreciate Fairly Odd Parents for, because when Fairly Odd Parents was at its best, it was genuinely amazing. Like some of the best cartoons you will ever see. My issue with Fairly Odd Parents is I also got to experience it as a childhood when they were introducing the likes of Sparky and Chloe, and that triggered some uh, flashbacks that I don't like having because I really don't like either of them as characters, and it was around this time where it really felt like Fairly Odd Parents had officially just jumped the shark
Yeah.
and they were basically just running on fumes for so long where it's like it felt like Nickelodeon was just trying to put the show out of its misery, which this is Nickelodeon we're talking about, and seeing how they are still trying to get everything they can get out of SpongeBob really was a tough look for Fairly Odd Parents, seeing how they were treated in their last couple of seasons. But it's just Fairly Odd Parents at its best is an amazing show, but at its worst, when it really went downhill, it was a tough watch. I will say one more thing on the Fairly Odd Parents. I also highly mention Sparky and Chloe in particular because I don't think introducing Poof was the jump the shark moment for them. Like I'm fine with Poof. I think Poof's a fine character, and honestly, the episodes after that are still pretty good. Like Fairly Odd Parents was still good after that. It's just there's a very noticeable decline once Sparky and Chloe come into play. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Actually,
Fairly Odd
it's
Parents, all
Perry.
right.
His name is Perry.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
because of the new show, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
okay.
had his own God Kid too. So that was
That's nice.
but nobody knew he was. But yeah, no, yeah, I mean, again, their highs were the highest things. Just the thing at like I watched their new stuff, and it was like, dude, you're not. It was very hard to like for I think especially for Butch Hartman to squeeze as much creative freedom as he could with the Fairly Odd Parents. Like it was clear that there was really no room for him to go with the Fairly Odd Parents. It is something that where at times you just need to end shows on a high note rather than just letting
Yeah.
it die the way
Well,
Yeah,
it
not
it's
to
did.
mention,
true.
well, the thing is with that as well, it's just fucking Butch Hartman's biggest issue with everything he's ever made. He refuses to let anything die. He wants everything to live for as long as possible. When it's just like, let it go, man. Just let it go.
Yeah, it was clear
I'm like,
that
I
it needed
get
to
it,
end when
but
it
like,
did.
come on, man. It's getting kind of sad.
Yeah. I mean, it did end. I mean, you had a soft reboot that I think is only gonna last a single season, which is, and I guess, um, I think it's one of the, it's a show that is going to be on like the cartoon fame, just not
Oh
in
yeah.
the cartoon Hall of Fame like SpongeBob or a Looney Tunes.
Yeah, that's true.
And I recognize that. But I grew up with the Fairly Odd Parents. I didn't grow up with the SpongeBobs. Only when I was a teenager I started watching a lot more of the SpongeBob. Yeah. That's why it is on the list where it is. And we go to numero 6.
Well, time for 6. Well, I think it's time we start busting out the big boys for this one. For my number 6, I'm gonna have to go with a controversial one. I'm not placing it any higher because I know people are going to get pissed. But fuck it, I'm gonna say it. I'm tired of the fanboy and chum chum slander.
Oh my
Anyone
God, here we go.
here any people don't seem to understand. I get fanboy and chum chum isn't the cinematic masterpiece. But like, come on, man. To say that fanboy and chum chum is an inherently awful show, you're just wrong. Like, legitimately, you just are wrong. And it's okay to have wrong opinions. A lot of people tend to have them. But let's be real here for a moment. It was funny. It was clever. And it was just an overall decent time. Anyone who has, like, painful memories of Fanboy and Chum Chum, I would like you to please take a look at the chart over here. And as you can see on the chart, it'll show you that Quit Crying, Fanboy and Chum Chum is peak.
Oh.
Now, I will say this. I understand why people get upset about it. I am not numb to why people hate it. But regardless of what you think, it is still a relatively fun show with a lot of cool shit. Like, how the fuck are you going to sit here and tell me that adding a character whose entire existence is a shitty fucking Emperor Palpatine reference? How are you gonna say that's mid? That is peak. That is just peak. But I know there are some people who are not enlightened, so I will allow them to speak.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man. It feels like anyone who disagrees with you on this, you think they are stupid, and it really feels like you don't respect their opinion.
I respect a
You
lot
know
of people's
how much of a
opinions.
like
Okay, that's fair.
it's a show that, well, what's 52 episodes. I guess a single season's okay. 2 seasons of it. I don't know. Fanboy and Chum Chum's just a TV show that's always just there. It's a show that exists. You're allowed to like it. So, I mean, there are people that think smoking cigarettes is okay. And
insane.
You're allowed to smoke cigarettes. There's nothing wrong with it. You're allowed to like Fanboy and Chum Chum. There's nothing wrong with liking Fanboy and Chum Chum. It's just a show that just wasn't for me. And that's about as respectfully as I will put it. It is just wasn't. That's okay.
Yeah, same applies here because I agree with Luke. Like, I don't think Fanboy and Chum Chum is a bad show by any means, but it's a show that exists. Like, it's not a bad show, but it's not as bad as something like Planet Sheen or something or freaking Breadwinners. It's better than that.
You want to talk about some honorable mentions real quick? I almost put Breadwinners
I'm still
on.
talking here. We can get to honorable mentions later. I'm still talking here. But anyways, my thing with Fanboy and Chum Chum is it's not bad. It's a show that exists, and if you like it, it's fine. But the way I see it, it's like, like it's not. Once again, it's just like you truly exist. You're a show that exists, and I don't hate the design. I don't hate some of the humor. I'm sure there's some very good jokes in here that, on a one-off can be really funny, but there's better out there.
Yeah.
There is
there's
not.
more.
That you're
There
just
is better.
no. There's
Yes.
not.
Yes.
No, there's not.
Buddy,
Anywho,
Taegan, anyways, this is the same guy who thinks Breadwinners is a better show than Avatar: The Last Airbender. I hope you know who you're talking
do
about.
not hate on my goat, Breadwinners. Okay.
Breadwinners has some of the worst toilet humor I have ever seen.
Again, like,
You just don't know.
you're like
This show isn't stupid. You're stupid.
My
People
brother in
are
Christ,
allowed to
Breadwinners
smoke
makes Teen
cigarettes.
Titans Go
Doesn't
look
mean
funny
I
in
agree with
comparison.
them. No. You're allowed to like it. It's okay
You
for
are.
liking it. I'm glad, Taegan, that you liked Fanboy and Chum Chum. I'm glad that it's honestly you're.
I don't
probably
like your
favorite
passive aggressiveness.
You're allowed to like it, Taegan.
I'm just
You're allowed to
saying.
like it. You're
I
allowed to
think
like it.
I-
I'm also allowed to say you're wrong.
You are so right about that.
Yeah. just
However,
like thinking smoking
I'm just
cigarettes is wrong.
Look, I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying that like Breadwinners is like inherently awful is just not a good take. It is a good show. It's not great, but people just see. It's a good show. I'm tired of acting like people. I'm tired of acting like it isn't. That's it.
Toilet humor goes burr.
It does not. It's not just toilet humor. The
Yes, it
breads
is.
are cool. The
The
breads are cool.
That's it. The only good thing about Breadwinners is it has a fire intro. That's the only thing I like about it. The intro kind of goes hard, but outside of that, it's just 2010's Nickelodeon toilet humor.
That is just not true.
You're allowed to like Fanboy and Chum. Just because you like Fanboy and Chum Chum doesn't mean it's just again. Some people like smoking cigarettes. I smoke cigarettes? Yes. Will I smoke cigarettes? No. Will I watch Fanboy and Chum Chum? No. Anyways, Nick, what is your number 6?
Anyways, time for the good shit. And by the good shit, I mean this is where it gets tough to rank because for my number 6, this is something where it's like if I'm talking about pure quality or just best, like if we're talking best shows, there's a good chance this is higher up because this is, in terms of shows, in terms of specials, this is one of the best things I have ever watched. But it's also something that really, it lasted so short. And it's not like this was something that got canceled or anything. It was made to last this short. It's just, this is something where it's like, it was great while it lasted, and I'm glad it lasted as long as it did, because all it took was this little of time to make its impact known to animation. And what I'm talking about here, at number 6, I have Over the Garden Wall.
Man, I try to watch it around Thanksgiving every year. It is truly amazing. My
thing with Over the Garden Wall is if I was like doing it like in terms of best shows, this would be higher because it's amazing. Like there's so much that could be said about Over the Garden Wall in terms of the episodes, in terms of what it's telling you. It's so good. And the fact that this is something that only lasted it only lasted basically a week. And the fact that I am here saying about how good this show is, sometimes all it takes is 1 week to make an impact, 1 season to make that big of an impact on a viewer. And Over the Garden Wall more than does that. Because I remember watching this in 2014, and it's something that where it's like it's so short, but it sticks with you. And it's just the episodes, like it's very consistent. It's a very consistently great show. And one of the scenes that I always think of when I think of Over the Garden Wall, because I mean there's great scenes, but the one where the beast gets revealed with the lantern and all that, like that is one of the best. That's in my opinion the best scene in the entire show. It's such a it's such a hard-hitting scene, especially considering what he has had to go through leading up to that moment. And yeah, it's just so much has been said about Over the Garden Wall that could be said much better than I ever could put it. But Over the Garden Wall is just a masterpiece. Like, if you had to ask me what is the closest thing to a perfect show, Over the Garden Wall would be one of my top picks because it's as close a show can get to being perfect.
Yeah, I think I've honestly too. It's one of the few shows where like I vividly remember crying at because like it's so weird, man. I think
It
it's
is.
like it's bittersweet in a way, I suppose. It's just
It
it's
is.
such an odd show. Not to mention too, I think what really kind of sells it for me, honestly, and I get this sounds weird, like that was one of Tim Curry's last performances he's ever done, ever since he had like a stroke or something. Like he,
Yeah.
I forgot who he played specifically, but like this was just one of the roles. I just kind of remember, and it's just like, damn. Well, not to mention too, I think Greg and Wirt are just really cool characters, and
Mhm.
you're just people you want to see succeed.
Yeah.
It's just a good show.
I mean, I read up on
Yeah.
the brushing up on the wiki. 10 episodes, and each episode was 11. So
Mhm.
it
Yeah,
again, to create a masterpiece in 10 episodes in 11 minutes per episode. Well done.
not to mention, too, like you could have easily turned that into a movie. That could have
Oh yeah.
easily just been a movie, but the fact that it's a cartoon just makes it so much better.
Also, by the way, the character that Tim Curry played was Auntie Whispers.
Oh right, yeah, fucking the weird. I think the weird pumpkin. I
Yeah.
think. Uh, I kind of forgot. Luke.
Numero 6. We're gonna go with Total Drama Island, or the Total
Now,
Drama series.
before you start, are you talking the series as a whole or
Series
just
as
the
a whole.
first?
We're gonna go with the series as a whole. There are on my list two. There's gonna be like four. There's four on my list that are gonna go for a specific range. But yeah, Total Drama. Dude, this series is incredibly amazing. I really enjoy this series. It is. I mean, dude, like I am somebody that is a big fan of Survivor. I've loved The Amazing Race as a kid. I myself during the pandemic went back and watched like the early seasons of Survivor. I've seen the first 20 I've seen every episode of Survivor up until like season 42. So like a show like this like speaks to me on so many levels. Reality TV done in a children's TV show, and they do it so well. I enjoyed Total Drama Island as a whole. I mean, the you great cast of characters. I mean, action's a fun time. You say what you will. If you most people don't like action, action's just a fun time. People are allowed to have fun. Uh, World Tour was just. It feels like a pipe dream, but it's not a pipe dream. People like that show actually exists. It like the theme that they went to it, Revenge of the Islands, just insane suicide island that was, with like the mutated animals. My home dog Fang, I like my boy Fang. Like they were awesome. There's a reason why people were down on their knees begging for more Total Drama. You had even a kid, a kind of a mini reboot with them as kids at a daycare. And what
That
about
sucked.
Chris? Well, we'll just bring Zeke from 16. He voices him, and most of the voice actors, they come back and voice these characters. People love Total Drama. Like, it is a great 4 seasons of a fantastic show. I'm a bit iffy about season 5. Season 5 to me doesn't exist. It is, I refuse to recognize All Stars and Pocateo Island. I refuse to recognize those, but everything else, I really love this series. It really showed just the power of like the peak of like parodying Survivor, and I'm surprised that nobody attempted it. And the first people that attempted it, they did it right, and plus it's Canadian made. Boom.
Oh, I'm also a huge Total Drama fan.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this. Uh, as someone who is a huge fan of who is a huge fan of Redonkulous Race and thinks it's the best of anything Total Drama. Total Drama is a great show. I think it is. I think it's amazing. I mean, of course, it has its flaws, but every show has its flaws. I think it's overall good show.
Yeah, I mean, Total Drama is another show that just missed out on the list for me, but it is, like, especially, like, the first couple of iterations of Total Drama Island, it is great. Like, it's so entertaining in terms of, like, doing the, like, the parody of, like, something like Survivor, which I agree with you, Luke. I'm surprised others did not try getting to that right away, because we saw how popular parodies can be. I'm surprised nobody else tried doing it first, but I'm glad Total Drama Island was the one to do that, because it does it better than anyone else ever could. And for me, a lot of it, I just think comes down to the fact that, I mean, a lot of the characters are great, but it comes down to the fact that Chris is such an enigma of a host. He really is just such an enigma, and it's like, God, I mean, Total Drama Island, it has its flaws, especially later on, which is kind of the reason I left it off the list, but you know what? It's still one hell of a time, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's again. I'm so sad that they rebooted it and they didn't bring the voice actor for Chris. It is somebody different. I think Chef Hatchett's the same, but it's unfortunately it's to the whims of the streaming budget, which is a lot less. And the thing is, you had Chris. You used Zeke from 16, man. You used Zeke from 16 so we could have a Chris for Total Drama Rama, and you couldn't get him back for the reprisal. I mean, I've tried watching it, and it's just not the same. His performance.
He's just Dawn from the Redonkulous Race.
Yeah.
Like, that's just it.
Yeah.
If they went with Dawn for that, I wouldn't have even been mad.
Yeah, same. But like the reason why we watch Total Drama is because Chris is such a fucking psychopath. Like,
True.
True.
really good. I mean, I'm really glad I was able to catch it when I was growing up. It's something that I will rewatch every now and then because it's just that good. I love it.
Now it's time for the real question. Who is your Total Drama GOAT?
Owen.
Mm.
It's
Ooh,
the
yeah,
Total Soul.
God, it's been a while. God, I mean, Total Drama favorites. I mean, shoot. I mean, yeah, Owen's one of the best ones. I mean, Taegan, what's yours?
I would say Owen too. I didn't know if we were all on the same wavelength or not. I'd say
It's
Owen's probably my
It's
favorite.
Owen.
It's
Owen
just my
is my goat.
It's just my thing is like, I feel like in terms of characters, like, yeah, a lot of them I like. I think it's like, in terms of picking one, it's like, yeah, whoever. I don't really have like a real gripe on who I would pick, but Owen would be one of my top choices because he is seriously entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like Owen, get the fuck out of our chat.
Yeah,
True.
Owen is great.
Simply put, only my goat finishes top 3. Only finishes top 3, not once but twice.
Mr. Consistent.
True. I assume it's time for my number 5, or is it number 6?
Number 5.
Numero
Okay.
5.
Well, for my number 5, I have a fucking heavy hitter, and I'm not even going to be. I'm not even going to build it up. Mad TV is in my opinion, one of the funniest shows on Nickelodeon. Speaking
Cartoon
of
Network.
parodies, I mean of Cartoon Network. God damn it. Speaking of parodies, but simply put, Mad TV is just fucking hilarious. Never have I seen a show. Give me a fucking advertisement about CM Punk's finisher, calling it the go to sleep. Not to mention, too, never have I seen a Mickey Mouse X House fucking parody in my
Absolute
life.
classic. Absolute classic.
True. It is peak fiction. And I've always said this, it is hard to make parody funny. And I still stand by that statement, but I feel like Mad has definitely found the way. Because they make two things that should never ever ever interact, and they make a solid cohesive story out of it. All I'm saying is, like, I don't think you can hate Mad at all. If you think it's unfunny, I don't trust your sense of humor.
I like the pacing of I didn't necessarily grow up watching it. I've seen a couple episodes, and I've even seen a couple like highlights and shorts on YouTube. I really liked how they paced themselves very well. They were able to like how they're able to jump back between theme to theme. Yeah, they did really good. I mean, it's like kind of like, kids rated robot chicken.
Yeah, it
But
is. And even then, though, even then, for a kids show, it really does push the boundaries still.
yeah, I will. The only thing that I will like kind of say about that, I think Mad is a lot more funnier than Robot Chicken, solely because of the fact it's hard to make PG rated humor funny, but I feel like Mad knows how to do that. I feel like it knows how to do that very well.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything I will say about Mad, like the only thing I don't like about it is there are definitely a lot of things about it that, like a lot of episodes that are dated, which I don't blame the writers, I don't blame the people making the show. I don't blame them for that because this was around that time. They were making stuff parodies and all that around this time. So I get why it's dated. It's just there's some of it that just probably could have been funny then that just isn't funny now. But the simple fact of the matter is there is still so much of the show that is absolutely hilarious. And like you brought up Mouse MD, it's so funny. It's so great.
Nah, that's not even like my favorite one. Like, I'm going through the wiki again. Like, even the first episode, CSI Carly is a fucking classic, and fucking holy shit, fucking WWE bought a suit.
Like again, stuff like they parodied their own shows like very well. Like Matt did, like they used what they were able to. It's like, was it Spy versus Spy was really cool. I like seeing
Yep.
Spy versus Spy was. I thought that was
Uh,
Spy versus.
Fucking Garfield of Dreams. Oh
Mhm.
god, like
They were
I go ahead.
the stuff that they were able to parody. They parodied very well because like I did not was it like with especially being in Canadian land, I got with so random and that's so weird. They paled into compare they mimicked a fraction of what Mad TV was. A fraction of what they were able to do. And I love those kinds of styles of shows too. So yeah, Mad's I don't have any complaints against Mad.
The saddest thing, and I will say this about Mad, I really am sad that they never did a Breaking Bad parody. Because there's so many good jokes.
I know,
They're
but
the-
I felt like they had
I
to keep
know.
it kid. They had to keep it kid friendly.
No, they didn't. They didn't even have like kid friend. They have like rated R shows and shit on there. Fucking, are you gonna like?
Maybe they didn't have the rights to it.
No, I mean, fucking. They had Les Miserables. I could have sworn that movie was rated R.
I mean, the thing with that is, I feel like if Breaking Bad, or not Breaking Bad, if Mad had lasted a little longer as a show, I fully believe there would have been a Breaking Bad parody at some point. But unfortunately, that just never happened. You gotta remember with Breaking Bad, like Breaking Bad was very popular when it came out, but its popularity was nowhere near what it was like it
Now,
wasn't until like the last season where that popularity really started to take off. And of course, once it finished and more people got into the show, yeah, that's when the popularity just continued to skyrocket, which to this day it has still continued to skyrocket in popularity.
yeah, I will say this real quick. I still have no idea why Mad got fucking canned. It was one of their best performing shows. I just don't get that.
I
It
think
was-
it's
No,
like
I
those
think
types of shows that they don't have the full. They won't. They like. I'm surprised it's so random. When it's hard for shows to go many, especially when you don't have like.
Yeah, and I
it is
get
kind of
it.
it is kind of funny though. I do find it funny that it debuted right after regular show. Like that's always funny to me.
I feel like I don't want to like turn this into like a little tangent or something, but we really do need to bring up how like the 20 like from like 2010 to like 2014 was like damn near the golden age of like Cartoon Network. Like that's when they had all of their new shows come out. Like I specifically remember you were getting hit with banger after banger after banger after banger. The only thing that kind of tarnishes it is fucking Problem Solvers came out around that time. Which,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, no one has the Problem Solvers on their list.
Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't take rocket science to make a prediction like that to anyone watching this.
It was just it was just super interesting, man. Like I think the best time to like be really into animation was early 20 because
Mhm.
like SpongeBob kind of got past the kind of bad shit because like SpongeBob real quick, let me just look up the season so I kind of get my point all across. Fucking god damn it.
I think this was around season 8 to 9, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Kind of like season 8, season 9 around that time was when SpongeBob finally got back into form. And I do want to say real quick, I find it really funny that season 9 started in July 21st, 2012 and ended March 29th, 2015.
Yeah, I think that was probably because of the sponge out of water. Sponge out of water. Also because I'm pretty sure they kind of like I don't know if it was planned or not, but I'm pretty sure some of it was planned. But I do remember that after the episode SpongeBob You're Fired, SpongeBob basically went on a hiatus for a bit, and I do think that episode kind of had something to do with it. Also because they were working on Sponge Out of Water at that time, so yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, I also find it really funny too because I was looking through like all the segments on the SpongeBob wiki. They say that the last episode of season 8 released December 6, 2012, but season 9 started July 21st, 2012.
Yeah, there were some weird time frames with SpongeBob seasons during that time.
Yeah, but hey, SpongeBob might be on the list. We'll see. We'll see when that gets there.
We
Anywho,
will see.
back to my thing. Mad's Peak. Go watch it after this. If not, solely look it up for the fact that they made not one but two fucking Big Bang Theory parodies. It was so funny that they had to do it twice. Also, they did a parody called the Kobe movie.
Mm,
And fucking after Kobe Bryant.
true.
God, I fucking love Mad. Please make it so I can watch it on like regular platforms, Cartoon Network. Please, I just want to watch it.
Anyways, we've been on the topic of 2010's Cartoon Network. We're not leaving the topic of 2010's Cartoon Network because at number 5 for me, it's time to get into the big 3. And which of the big 3 of Cartoon Network am I picking for number 5? For my list, at number 5, I have Adventure Time.
Thank you.
Now, for Adventure Time, it was the first of the big 3 to make its debut in 2010, which was the start of the what many call it the Cartoon Network Renaissance era. And for me, with Adventure Time, I do consider it a great show for many reasons. Mainly just, I love the world building in this show because it's just, there's so much in this show. There's so much in the world of this show that just, if you were to like try and analyze everything, it would take you so long to do it. It'd probably take you many fucking years to analyze every single little thing about Adventure Time. But I think in terms of of other things I love about this show, I just love the dynamic between Finn and Jake. It's such a good dynamic that these two characters have, and they've come off so well with one another. Of course, you have Finn, and you have Jake the dog, and I do love that. I will always love that Jake is voiced by the same guy that voices Bender from Futurama. That is
Yeah.
that's always a plus. But I just love the story building here. I love the characters. And I mentioned how, I love the world building here. Like the fact that there's so much lore with someone like the Ice King, or even someone like freaking BMO has a lot of lore. Like the fact of the matter is, it's just there's so much that could be said about Adventure Time in terms of episodes and all that. Because I do agree there are times where Adventure Time, the quality of it is not the best, which granted it did go on for a while, and it did take me a while to finally get to the ending of Adventure Time, like years after it had ended. But Adventure Time is just, it's a great show, and it's an important show too, because so much of the effects, there are so many effects from Adventure Time that have been felt across the animation industry. Like a lot of people who worked on Adventure Time would go on to work with many other shows, and some of those shows have been extremely successful. And that always helps. Like if you're influential as a show, then that will always help. And it's just with Adventure Time, there's so much that can be said about this show, and it's one of those shows where you can have a lot of spin-offs with it, a lot of, more shows talking about Adventure Time, which is how we get a show like Fiona and Cake, which that really did bring me a lot back to that really brought Adventure Time a lot back into my life because it's like, I hadn't watched Adventure Time in a bit since the ending, but Fiona and Cake is amazing, and I go back to see Adventure Time and it's like, yeah, this show is still as great as I remember it, and I'm glad we're getting more content from it with the likes of Fiona and Cake because there really is so much you can talk about with this show. Also, this is a show that features Prismo, and not many other no other show has Prismo, so credit to them.
Fair. Adventure Time is a very odd show for me. Growing up, I loved it. I loved it a lot. And then everything after the Lich happened. I think Adventure Time went from a really solid show, like one that I would consider putting on, to a very odd slog fest. I'm not saying Adventure Time is bad. I still think it's like a 7 out of 10 show. I don't know, man. I got really tired of the fucking Finn love story shit. I couldn't handle it anymore.
I mean, to be
And
fair, I think that was before the whole Lynch stuff. That was before that. At least with stuff like Finn and what's this, Bubblegum, and I believe shoot, why am I blanking on her name?
Marceline,
Not Marceline. Shoot.
Flame
Flame
Princess.
Princess. Flame
Yeah.
Princess. That's what I was thinking of.
It's rough with me because I don't want to hate Adventure Time. I really don't. Because I think it is a really fun and charming show. Another issue that I have with it, there's just too much. Like, Adventure Time kind of has the One Piece issue where there's a lot of, like, it wants to be serialized, but in order to get the good shit of the serialization, you have to go through all the fucking filler. And Adventure Time went on for a respectable 10 seasons. And I can fuck with that. I can be fine with that. Why in God's green earth is season 5 fucking 43 episodes? Oh no, not 43. Why is season 5 52 fucking episodes long? Why? Not to mention too, season 6 is fucking 43. Like, come on, man, I don't fucking have time for that. It so annoys me. Because I remember, like, watching a little bit afterwards and seeing the shit that they did with Magic Band, developing that character and turning him into something cool. But yet, they couldn't, it's just, it has way too much filler for me to enjoy. And it'd be different if, like, the filler episodes were, like, really good. And I just don't feel that way. I really don't. It's a good show.
I get how you feel, but also I feel like, you talk about the filler, but I think that plays a big role into why I really love the world that is Adventure Time, because there's just so much. There's so much lore with so many characters. There's so much here that not many other shows really have in terms of world building, where it's like, this really is its own universe, and there really is just so much to be talked about here. I get it that there will, especially with a show that ran as long as Adventure Time, there will be filler episodes that can really feel like a slog. And trust me, there are definitely those episodes with Adventure Time, but it's just overall, it doesn't really hurt my viewing that much, because it's like, once again, I just really love what Adventure Time is in terms of what it is as a show, what it is with the characters, and what it was in terms of just tuning into Cartoon Network and getting to see this regular show in Gumball. It's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Luke, what were you gonna say?
I did not watch time growing or at all, really. I know my brother was really into it, but I think what I do recognize is that Adventure Time was one. I think I consider it. This is just my opinion. I consider it to be the same tier as SpongeBob. Like in terms of like if there was a cartoon Hall of Fame or like a cartoon Mount Rushmore, one would be SpongeBob, the other pillar or the other head would be Adventure Time.
That's fair.
That's an interesting take there. I mean, for Cartoon Network, I think that is very valid. But in terms of that, I mean, I get where you're coming from with that.
I wouldn't put it on my Mount Rushmore. If you were to say that Adventure Time is like one of the greatest shows of all time, I can agree to that. I may not have really entirely loved it, but I'm respectable enough to be like, yeah, you know what? That's a fair opinion to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch Adventure Time, but I will recognize that it is one of the pillars of cartoon Mount Rushmore. In my unbiased opinion. Are we good to 5?
Yep.
Yes.
The other head of Mount Rushmore is Phineas and Ferb. I will put them on the cartoon because I really love how unique and creative that show got every single time. Musical. What are we gonna like? It's very formulaic, and you know what you're gonna get in with it, but it's how they present themselves. It's how they do it that always appreciates me. Hey, where's Perry? Perry's just fucking around with some pharmacist, right? The Easter egg gags that they have are absolutely incredible. What do you mean you bought a petting zoo for bunny rabbits and didn't buy a single rabbit? Oh, here comes a bunch of bunnies. What do you think? A bunch of bunnies are gonna fall out of the sky? Wow! Like the humor that is presented there, and I feel like of all cartoons, Phineas and Ferb feels like something you can watch all together as a family. It really feels like one of those family cartoons that that everyone can enjoy. I think it's the one cartoon that's good for all ages where maybe not so much as SpongeBob, maybe not so much as Adventure Time, but Phineas and Ferb felt like the show that everybody can watch and enjoy. That's why it's very high on my list.
I think that's a fair. I get where you're coming from. I think your pointing is fair. I still think that I don't think Phineas is just up there on Mount Rushmore. It's close. It is 100% close. But
And
I think it misses the cut by a good bit.
That is your opinion, and you're allowed to have an opinion. I just think to me there's 4 pillars. I think 2 of them are Cartoon Network shows. One of them is SpongeBob. One of them is Fairly Odd. I want to see what your guys' top 5 because my top 4 are not included in any pillar and any head for Mount Rushmore. I think one of them is. I think.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark, and I'm thinking he's picking Bakugan for one of them. I don't want to know.
You are. I'm gonna say no. I didn't watch Bakugan.
Really, you could have fooled me.
I didn't have Bakugan growing.
Well,
so yeah,
our family did.
Good for the whole family. Taegan, what's your number 4?
My number 4. So we're getting into the meat and potatoes of it all. So I really have to sit down and start debating in my head what I want to go with. Because there's a lot of routes I can go. And I feel like me personally, I'd be doing a disservice to my man if I didn't do it. At number 4, I'm going Johnny Bravo. I am a huge Johnny Bravo dude. I personally think that Johnny Bravo is one of the coolest people ever. And anyone who says otherwise, simply put, you pull no pussy, you get no game. Get off my goat for a moment. It's just, I don't know, man. I think Johnny Bravo is so funny. I don't think anything can really top just the utter coolness of Johnny Bravo. Like, there's a reason why I think he's one of the coolest characters in fiction, and that's because he is the coolest character in fiction. Like, I don't know how you can sit here and be like, I don't know, man, Johnny Bravo's kind of just okay. Nah, man, Johnny Bravo's cool as fuck. I'd invite Johnny Bravo to dinner every night if I could. Every night. Not to mention, too, it's just... the humor is just funny. Like, I haven't seen, it's just a funny-ass show. And I don't think a lot of people recognize it, because it's just like, Johnny Bravo's a bit of a meme. Oh, he's a blonde guy, but he can't get women. Like, I don't know about you, man, but, Johnny Bravo's cool as hell. Like, I don't know anyone who wouldn't want to hang out with Johnny Bravo. But, I am willing to take the floor for opinions now.
Johnny Bravo is cool. I agree with that.
I will say he does not age well in today's political climate. It could not be a cartoon that you could do in today's day and age. That's
right, but I think a lot of it is laughing at Johnny rather than laughing with Johnny.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think I get where you're coming from, but I don't think it ages abhorrently badly. I think it's just kind of it's kind of a capsule of its time. It's like how Family Guy was. Like, it's not racist. It's just
you sure
odd.
Fuck can't make it again today.
But
yeah, and most who try and make it fail miserably.
All right, Nick, what's your number 4?
Well, we're not leaving the Cartoon Network. Yep, number 4. We're not leaving the Cartoon Network train anytime soon, because at number 4, I have Gumball. Gumball is my number 4. I mean, once again, this is shows I watched as a child, and like of the big 3, like Adventure Time, Gumball was certainly up there. It was certainly on all the time, and yeah, it is genuinely some of the funniest shit I have ever seen. Like, The Amazing World of Gumball, in a lot of ways similar to Adventure Time, there really is so much to like about it, because I feel like, just the Watterson family is truly a hilarious group. They really are a hilarious group. I mean, and similar to what I said about Adventure Time, how much I love the characters, how much I love the world that is Adventure Time, the same applies to The Amazing World of Gumball, because it's just so unique. Like, there is no other world like The Amazing World of Gumball. Like, Gumball, looking back at watching it, it's like, this feels like a show that, honestly, it feels like a concept I could see with something like an Adult Swim show, where you have this unique of a world setting. And it helps that, the episodes themselves with The Amazing World of Gumball are truly, a lot of them are very much masterpieces, and it feels like The Amazing World of Gumball just knows how to commentate on certain issues while also fitting perfectly within the world that it is in, because, the town of Elmore is truly one of the interesting places of all time. But I love the animation, I love the characters, and if I had to pick a certain episode that really sums up why I love The Amazing World of Gumball, I look back at the episode where Richard gets a job as a pizza delivery driver, and he nearly ends the world. He gets a job, and he nearly ends the world, and it is fucking great.
I mean, here's the thing. Unfortunately, Gumball isn't on my list because this was not a cartoon I watched growing up. I watched it like in my older years. But Gumball is fucking fantastic. It is hilarious. It is something that, again, the most memes are quoted from. In my opinion, the most memes are quoted from Gumball. Like this guy doesn't exist. He is a savage. Like, there's no way that this guy fucking exists. This show doesn't. It's not real, but yet it is one of the most funniest, quotable shows in our day and age. Unfortunately, I have to hear what other cartoon options are out there. But might be my fourth head might just go to Hanna-Barbera in general. But yeah, Gumball is fucking amazing, man.
You know, I mentioned with Adventure Time how I love the Finn and Jake dynamic. Here with Gumball, I love the Gumball and Darwin dynamic. It's such a great dynamic, and it leads to so many amazing moments.
Everyone just
Agreed.
works just so well together.
The reason why Gumball didn't make my list, honestly, the weights. As much as I love Gumball and I adore the show to death, it suffers from fatigue. Like, it suffers from waiting fatigue a lot. Which, like, I get it's a dumb thing to act, but, like, I really took that into perspective, because, like, some of these shows, like, they just didn't last long.
I mean, but
and I couldn't.
Chum didn't last long. Matt didn't last long.
No. I mean, I didn't mean didn't last long. I mean the waits were long, like abnormally long, and I just wasn't. I have to take that into consideration when I'm thinking about it, because it's like this is a show like Gumball. For me, growing up, having to wait like a year or two for the next season sucked. Not to mention too, we don't know the fucking update on the fucking Amazing World of Gumball movie right now. I mean, we know that it's existing.
There is supposed to be another season. I know that.
Yeah, it's just it's weird, and it would make my honorable mentions, honestly. It's rough. Plus, I do think the first season looks a bit rough in comparison to, like, the other. Like, granted, you could say that it has some charm to it, which, like, I can agree to. But, like, even then, it's still not the greatest looking, and I have to take that into account. But regardless, I think it's a great show. It's damn near phenomenal.
That's fair.
Easily, if I was like 3, Gumball does not. Number 4, I'm going to be picking 2 shows here, but they're basically the same damn thing. But I'm going to be picking 2 specific seasons. I'm going to go with the original Beyblade. We're going to go with the G Revolution, which is season 3 of the original. And we're going to go with Beyblade Metal Master. I loved Beyblade growing up. Like, people were... I love Beyblade. It was amazing. I loved the original cast of Max, Tyson, Ray, and Kai. The fact that they were... Like, the first season's very rough. But, like, season 3 was, like, a culmination of, like, all their hard work just paying off at the end. And it's a perfect combination of all the characters' growth. The pressure of trying to be a repeat champion brings out the best of everything. And it really shows just kind of where... Like, I've seen modern new Beyblade spinoffs, but none of them will ever hit as hard as the originals because... Guess what? It's a spinning top that's not gonna go around in circles. We're gonna Beyblade, guess what, at the Berlin Wall. We're gonna Beyblade at a Roman Colosseum. Here's downtown Las Vegas. Here's the Great Wall of China. Like
Hey, you know the Red Sea, the thing that Moses parted? Yeah, guess what Moses used to fucking part that shit.
Exactly. I loved the goofy like spirit that was trapped in a spinning top. It was so. It is just. I love it so well. And the thing that I really loved about G-Ro, like the notes that Metal Masters took from the thing that Metal Masters was kind of just missing. It was missing goofy stadiums that the original Beyblade had. The Beyblade Metal series was just straight up normal stadium, no gimmicks. They started using gimmicks in Metal Fury. But Metal Masters was really good because it was again continuation of a story of Jinga Hagane. And I really liked again the rivalry that he has. When they do a rivalry right, they do it right. And his rivalry with Kiyoya was amazing. The fact that they ended that battle in a tie was great, and that battle with each other was amazing. You notice that their rivalry through Beyblade, the first season of the Beyblade Metal season. They had a great rivalry between each other, and that just continued on. And it carried on into the first bit of Metal Fury, which is really great. The battles that they had, I liked how they finally were starting to explore outside of the country. How it still followed the characters going on. The fact that they still were able to copy Tyson's and Daichi's dynamic. They copied it and they still made it unique on its own was something that I loved. I was always looking forward to every Saturday growing up because I was always excited when a new Beyblade Metal Masters was gonna be released. It was fun and awesome. And Beyblade G Revolution, like if there's a one show that you really want to go back and see the roots, I recommend season 1 and 3. Season 2 is a little weird, but 1 and 3 are some of the best of what Beyblade has to offer. None of this. They go around in circles. Nah. Make them dodge each other's attacks. Stop being bitches. Yeah, I love the OG Beyblade. And the Metal series was really great. Great.
Yeah, I didn't watch Beyblade a lot. I was more of a Bakugan kid. But I do remember the only thing that I remember about Beyblade was the thing that I brought up about how Moses fucking parted the Red Sea.
Exactly, like
bully.
old Beyblade would have that kind of goofy shit. New Beyblade, oh no, it goes in water, then it spins out. There's no creativity, man. There's no creativity. Let me go back to the roots.
It's something I never saw, but just doing like a quick search of it and I see it and it's like, you know what? This looks like it could be entertaining. You know what? I can understand why someone would really enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. Those are especially as a kid, like growing up on the original was absolutely amazing. And me still enjoying when they went to the Metal series. I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed Shogun Steel, which was the continuation of it 10 years later. The fact that then they got this new shit where they just, hey, guess what? Beyblade Burst. I tried. It's not for me. The originals were better. Like, the first 2 iterations were just so much better. It could be just because of my unkness, but when a Beyblade can just summon, I don't know, a fucking knight that can hold your spinning top in gravity. Yeah. Try beating that. But yeah, Beyblade. It's very high on my list. That is like one of the series I absolutely loved growing up as a kid. I was into Beyblade. I was not into Bakugan. This probably was the one anime show growing up. I think that and Avatar. But yeah, love Beyblade. That is my number 4.
Alright. Well, it's time for my number 3. And, Number 3 is we're getting into the beefers, the real good of the good, the real meat and potatoes of it all. And it's just so hard because deciding between these 3 has just been something that I've been flip-flopping, and it really is just like it really depends on how I'm feeling in this moment right now. For me, I guess what I'm feeling right now. Fuck, this is actually insanely hard. But
He's thinking.
God. It's I mean, I feel like it's gotta be Rick and Morty. It's rough. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to like not sit down and be like, yeah, Rick and Morty was very impactful in my childhood. Like, I get it's really corny to say, "Oh, he likes Rick and Morty, haha," but you forget, everyone liked Rick and Morty back. You could not go a single day without someone referencing Wubba Lubba Dub Dub, Tiny Rick, or any of that shit. And I still love Rick and Morty to this day. I think it's funny. I think it's a show that, even despite all the shit that's going on, is so consistently funny and provides some of the best in terms of humor. I think it's one of the few shows recently that I'm like kind of sort of looking forward to. Like when I was going through everything, I originally had Smiling Friends somewhere in here, and I would include Smiling Friends. The issue is I felt like all the other shows I had a lot more of an emotional impact, and Smiling Friends just came at a time where I couldn't quite say it was childhood. Plus, it's only 2 seasons. So I had to think real quick, long and hard, and it's like, yeah, Rick and Morty barely beat it out. Now, granted, I am not blind to the whole Pickle Rick shit, but I'm just gonna say this now. The fact that I would go out of my way to watch the fucking shitty little Rick and Morty April Fool's bit that Adult Swim was doing while watching the Cubs absolutely ass blast the A's, it says a lot to me, and I had to tell myself realistically, Rick and Morty deserves a spot here. It really does.
Yeah,
I can agree to Rick and Morty. Unfortunately, Rick and Morty just did not. Yeah, growing up on it series, I've watched all episodes. I feel I know as much as he's a shit, but when Dan Harmon was basically forcibly removed, I feel like a lot of the creative energy really, really.
Was it Dan Harmon? I don't think it was.
Who was it? Who
No,
was it?
Justin Roiland.
Justin Roiland. Stuff was missing, and Rick and Morty just like the first 3, 4 seasons are great, but it hasn't hit the stride that like the earlier episodes have had. And it's I kind of know like the biggest fear that I think they had was like maybe what happens if we got just stale. And I'd say it, boys. It got to the point where it's starting to get really stale with the humor to where Rick and Morty, Rick and Morty seasons don't do it for me like they. I wonder how you guys.
Honestly,
I mean,
go ahead, Nick. You were first.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
I'm gonna be real. I like these more. I like these more recent seasons of Rick and Morty more probably than these later seasons. I think season 3 is still very good, and I think a lot of the episodes in season 3 still stand up. But even then, like, for me personally, like, the fact that they pull out something like That's a Morte fucking the Jarrick Trap fucking final D Smith Nation. Now, granted, I will sit here and say that yeah, some of the shit is kind of weird. Now, I don't like Wet Quat Mortican Summer. I don't really get Rise of the Number Cons, the movie. Like, but I still think the highs are very, very, very high. Plus, not to mention too, Rick and Morty is just a culture phenomenon that like it deserves a spot on here based on what it's done alone. Like without Rick and Morty, I don't think we get a Smiling Friend.
Agreed. That I do
Without
agree with.
Fair.
like, and plus,
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe just Rick and Morty just doesn't do it for.
that's so fair. That is such a reasonable take to have. But I think it's also something that you have to consider that like you probably don't get all of these new and interesting animated shows without it. Rick and Morty was a trendsetter. Like,
I think what I will say about Rick and Morty was they had the easiest layup, but I think it's kind of like the same problem that Final Space had, where like I went to the whole story of it. Like watching season 1 and 2, there's two different people controlling where the direction went, and I really felt like at times, as especially as a studio, sometimes you have to take just several steps back and just let the creative minds at work do their thing. And that's why, to me, just Rick and Morty just does that the same way it does.
I get it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like you're wrong for feeling that way. I just think that Rick and Morty. I still think they're just too big. They're too big to fail.
Yeah, they're at the point they're gonna be kept on cartoon. Oh, was it on Adult Swim for a
Adult Swim.
very long time. They're gonna be entering the halls of SpongeBob. They were gonna have many seasons of Rick and Morty. Many.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to hear my thoughts on Rick and Morty, it is very much one of the most important cartoons to be made in the past decade. Like, it really is. There's no denying that. The importance of Rick and Morty is something that nobody, even if you don't like Rick and Morty, you can't deny that it has had a major impact on the animation landscape. And I can confirm that during like the mid to late 2010s, you couldn't escape Rick and Morty. I can very much confirm that. Like, you really couldn't escape it. And it's just, I feel like Rick and Morty at its best is, without question, one of the best things Adult Swim has ever had. Like, Rick and Morty is one of the defining shows of Adult Swim that I don't think until we saw Smiling Friends that someone else had really entered that territory in terms of shows that came after Rick and Morty. But Rick and Morty at its best is a great show, but like many other shows that go a long time, it's noticeable that the show has kind of been running on fumes. Like, it's clear that it's kind of just running on fumes, and it's gotten stale in many areas, but I also think my thing on that discussion is that I think there's this also, I think Rick and Morty's time in the cultural spotlight is fading away. Like, it's still, culturally there. It's just, it's clear that it's fading away, and it's just, it's no disrespect to Rick and Morty. It's just, that's what happens when shows go on for a long time, and the chances of them getting stale are very likely, and that happens with Rick and Morty. It's just, I still respect it for what it is, even if Justin Roiland is a piece of shit, I still respect it. And I mean, you got to remember, this is the same in a film filled with God knows how many cameos. I'm not even gonna try and count how many there were. The biggest one that got a pop in Space Jam 2 was Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, like, oh, so Luke, to say your whole, I don't want to like cut down your point about like Smiling Friends not being there, but I just want to keep in mind Bushworld Adventures was made by Michael Cusack, one of the co-creators of Smiling Friends. I think if Rick and Morty doesn't exist, I still don't think we get Smiling Friends because Bushworld Adventures is just a cultural phenomenon of itself. Another just Adult Swim funny little haha April Fool's thing. But like I said, real quick, I do want to bring up too, with like Adult Swim like programming. I just want to bring up too, like what was really going on around that time that was really must watch on Adult Swim. Because like of course people had like people had
1500 Force.
what?
I mean, like the first show I can think of is Aqua Teen Hunger Force because that was still going.
Right, yeah. But other than that though, like what else? I
mean, you're right. No, I'm not I'm recognizing, like, again, this is why, again, as my top list goes, I'm going to be very specifically selective on specific things that really stood out to when watching TV shows. That's why, again, two of my spots are going to be very specific. Like, there's going to be a microscope where there's specifically I really watched. And the one thing that I will say is that, yes, again, the Rick and Morty was a cultural phenomenon. It was a show that everybody was going to tune in no matter what. I just feel like, again, it's a show that I think that the network stepped in when it really shouldn't have. And just let the show be the show. Just let it be the show. I mean, season 4 was probably one of the biggest, like, what if we did this? What if we did this? Like, it showed, like, how they really felt like that they were struggling. And again, I feel like when they need to have their high moments, I feel like they're more forced than naturally happening. If you can catch my drift. Like, you look at the when Rick killed evil Prime Rick. Like, they didn't do enough build up to it. It was like, oh my god, we're losing people's attention to their shows. Quick, we must do something. Think, intern, why don't we just kill Prime Rick? People will talk about that for days. And then they killed Prime Rick. I mean, Rick and Morty's gonna have its moments, and I think their moments are good. It's just I feel like they just need to they need to keep the show in the creative hands, and I think it can be in those right.
That's fair, I guess.
I also think it doesn't help with like the Rick and Morty discourse that some of the other things they've been doing with the franchise haven't really been well received. Like I remember the whole Rick and Morty anime thing was not exactly the best received from fans, and that kind of really I remember that being kind of a big topic, and it's like it feels like Rick and Morty just in recent years has gotten granted they still get good headlines, but it feels like they've gotten a lot more negative press than they would have many years ago.
It's a bad show. I really feel like
Oh yeah.
it started off really high, and I don't think they can get to that peak. They can get back to that they want.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
Yeah.
how I feel about good old Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that's just I will say this though. I think Rick and Morty has still done a lot of good.
It's
and I still
good.
think it right. I just I think it gets a little bit too much crap. I get it. I do.
Why is the Bridge series? I'm Piccolo. I put my Go hunch. You've peaked.
Yeah.
You get better, right? Yeah, I guess. But also no. You could say that. But I think it's a show that peaks too early.
I guess. It's just it's so awkward because looking back on like Adult Swim's like animation catalog, like I'm sorry, I don't know a single person who fucked with Squidbillies. I also don't know a single person who fucked with China, Illinois. I do know people who fucked with Boondocks and Moral Oral. I fuck with those people.
Mhm.
The Boondocks are great. And I also know people who fuck with the Venture Brothers and Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Also, side note, but why the fuck did Mr. Pickles why the fuck was Mr. Pickles a thing that existed? I hated that show. It was so annoying.
That show is genuinely terrifying, especially in the mornings. Especially if you wake up and the first thing you see is that. It can genuinely be terrifying.
Yeah, fucking bullshit ass show. I hate that. No, but that's for another day. I know we should probably move on, but I don't know. Adult Swim's just very interesting.
They need to let the creative people go to their work instead of trying to be like, oh, people love this. Stop, corporate heads. You don't know what we like. Now fuck off. You guys
Yeah, not to
ruined
mention
Final Space, man. They ruined Final Space, dude.
yeah, like apparently I heard a show called Common Side Effects is doing pretty well there.
Yeah,
I
it
haven't
is.
seen it yet, but
It
even
is.
then I looked at that and it felt off to me.
I'll be honest. I watched Common Side Effects. I thought first season was great. That's just me.
I don't know. I might give it a watch at some point. But I just something that I've kind of noticed. Adult Swim has no like live action show. Like they have none, and that's really surprising. Because live action shows was their bread and butter growing up, like the Eric Andre show, Ted and Eric, fucking goddamn Black Jesus, Joe Para talks with you, fucking
Children's Hospital.
Children's Hospital, Your Pretty Little Face is Going to Hell.
Yep.
Fucking great one, that one. It's so weird.
Indeed. Anyways,
Yeah.
we spend a lot of time on
Yeah.
Rick and Morty. I think we got to move on
Yeah,
to
actually,
Nick's.
it's actually a good trend. It's a good transition because we're not leaving the Adult Swim topic. Because at number 3, I have King of the Hill.
Oh,
Oh.
So here's the thing. King of the Hill ranks so highly for me because it's one of those shows where, yeah, it does have like some of the later seasons are definitely not up to par to like what the best King of the Hill seasons were. But in terms of like comparing it to other shows, especially shows that went on for more than a decade, King of the Hill really never saw like the decline in quality that many other shows in its genre saw. And Taegan mentioned this earlier, how Hank Hill is probably the best dad in adult animation, or at least of like, like of the ones that many people think of when they think of adult animation. Hank Hill is easily the best. And I think the big reason why is the premise of King of the Hill is you have this conservative family that is, evolving with a changing world, but they're not pieces of shit. That's the important thing about someone like Hank and especially Peggy. They're not pieces of shit. They are genuinely evolving to a changing world, and it makes for great television because it feels so realistic, and I think that was the big appeal of me. That was the big appeal when I was watching King of the Hill, when I was younger, was it's so realistic. It feels so real to me, especially because I was watching it on Adult Swim, And this was around the time when Adult Swim was really going all out with King of the Hill. Because they, back in like the first couple of years when they got King of the Hill on Adult Swim, they used to air those bumpers, like the King of the Hill bumpers, and I loved those King of the Hill bumpers. Like, genuinely, really amazing what they did with that. Because it really showed that they had gone all out with King of the Hill and having it on their network. And I mention Adult Swim here because the reason I got into King of the Hill was because King of the Hill would be the first thing that came on Adult Swim. When it would
Yeah.
transition from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim, it would be the first thing you see. And I always loved that. I always enjoyed that. And I think it was smart of Adult Swim to have King of the Hill be the first show on because it's kind of like, King of the Hill is an adult show, but it's something that I feel like, it's mature enough to where if you have a kid growing up and it's like you see they have King of the Hill on, it's not the worst thing. Like, it's not like walking in and seeing Family Guy on, or God forbid they changed the channel and found South Park or something.
Yeah.
But like,
South Park.
it's just, with King of the Hill, something I love is just, I mentioned how real it feels, and the characters, so many, like, all of them feel real. Like, someone like Hank, someone like Bill, especially, like Dale, Boomhauer, which I always like to bring up the fact that Boomhauer was a character made because Mike Judge got a freaking voicemail message from someone that was like mad about MTV and apparently something with Beavis and Butthead and Looney Tunes. Something along the lines of that. That's why Boomhauer got created, and I always like bringing up that story. But it's not just them. You got characters like Lucky, Khan, Luann, and it's like, it's just, the thing is, it's just, so much of King of the Hill works, and I just love it. It wasn't my first introduction to adult animation, but it's the introduction to adult animation that I'm most happy to have experienced. And yeah, it's a show I love.
Yeah. The thing is with King of the Hill, and I very much agree to your extent, I think the fact that it went from like Cartoon Network to King of the Hill makes so much sense because King of the Hill really is separating the boys from the men, because the boys, after 7 o'clock, when Cartoon Network goes off for the night, the boys go and watch Impractical Jokers like real people. Now the men stay there and they're like, fuck yeah, King of the Hill, let's crack some beer.
Oh yeah.
Granted, I was a boy who switched to. I was a boy at one point who switched to Impractical Jokers, which it's now sad to know that I'm no longer allowed to like Impractical Jokers anymore.
Yeah, talk about gags just aging just fucking poorly.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's another thing I want to add on to it. Something I really love about King of the Hill is it felt like when King of the Hill, because they did do like a lot of like, it felt like King of the Hill did like a lot of parodies of many other, shows and all that, or topics, and they wouldn't do like direct to direct parodies, but like, it was basically referenced, like whether that be in the titles, which, God, there's so many titles
Right.
that King of the Hill had where it's a reference to something, and they do it so well. But when I think of them, like, referencing a topic or doing like a parody, I think of that one episode, like it's
Kidney
that
Boy?
one. That's a good, yeah, that's one, but the one I'm thinking of is it was A Firefighting We Will Go, which is basically a parody of the Three Stooges, and it's so fucking hilarious. It's so fucking good. Like, God, there's so much of King of the Hill that's just, it's so good. It's so funny.
Yeah. The thing is with me for King of the Hill, it's. I know I brought this up earlier. A King of the Hill is just really a show that you could watch with anyone because it's just a calming show. Like, I don't think it's possible to hate King of the Hill because that's like hating a piece of cake. Like, are you gonna hate something so simple? Like, I really like King of the Hill, and I think it's a very, very, very great show.
Mhm.
However,
And
I meant to bring this up earlier, but I do want to mention real quick. I really don't like Lucky. I don't like him.
that's fair. I get that I completely get, like, if there's any character I can understand of like King of the Hill, someone not liking, Lucky's a good pick. I understand why. I like him, but I just brought him up because it's like I just think of like how many characters outside of like the main ones you think of that are just so entertaining. It's just like also even someone like there's so many dynamics in this show, like someone like Bobby and Connie, they work so well together, and it's just there's
Yeah,
so much that works. And I do want to say this because Adult Swim played a major role in this being number 3. I don't think King of the Hill is as popular or as well regarded today as it is without Adult Swim making it the first
agreed.
show making it the first show to come on after Cartoon Network, because I don't think it can be understated how much Adult Swim really helped with that.
Great. The thing is, too, it's so weird that King of the Hill was the show that went to Adult Swim when something like Beavis and Butthead it reeks of Adult Swim. Like Beavis and
Mhm.
Butthead is a show that's just is it sounds like it's built for Adult Swim. But yet it's funny because Mike Judge is more serious and more tonally calmer shows ends up being the one that goes to fucking Adult Swim. And this isn't a
Yeah.
hate to it. It's fucking great. It's just
Yeah.
for the longest time, the fact that Beavis and Butthead was never on Adult Swim, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
But yeah, King of the Hill's a great show. Everyone should watch it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
where the $1 million question was gonna happen, folks. What era of Yu-Gi-Oh was Luke going to pick? And to you, young viewer, I am gonna go with 2. I've picked 2 in. We're gonna go with Yu-Gi-Oh GX, and we're gonna go with the first full season of Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds. I think
Really? That fucking surprises me. I'm not even fucking joking.
I was really torn between Battle City and GX, but GX shines out more. Because when I sat down and thought of it, is it because I really liked a sample size of 40 episodes in Battle City, and then it got interrupted by, hey, let's be honest, into the virtual world, a guilty pleasure of mine, a guilty pleasure, Joey and Yugi versus the Big Five, Sato versus Noah. I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for Joey going to court for for Taya, but somehow lucking into a victory versus one of the Big Five. I'm a sucker for it all. But at the thing is, like, is it because of the small sample size of Yu-Gi-Oh? When I really loved all 3 seasons of GX, and it's the 3 seasons of GX that completely outshine it. I love Elemental Heroes. I love even I've seen the season 4 with subbed. I love the direction that they just decided to. Even the final showdown, they let the final showdown between Yugi and Jaden end on a cliffhanger. Well, what do you think happened? I loved it so much. Elemental Heroes is still my to this day my favorite archetype of Yu-Gi-Oh card. They're not they're not good. I mean, Elemental Hero Stratos is flat out incredible, but like the Elemental Hero archetype is still my favorite to this day. My favorite card to this day, well, actually, it's Dark Rebellion, XD Dragon, but my second favorite is the Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. It still is to this day. I loved the idea where they really expanded the fusion that everybody was going to be fusion summoning. The rule changes that they made with it, because in the original you had to wait a turn when you summoned a fusion monster. Hell, terrible idea.
Yeah, I will say this though, Luke. Sorry, I was gonna say I agree with GX. However, I want you to sit here and I want you to tell me the truth. Wing Karibo is still the shittiest fucking special card in existence.
Why?
It sucks.
It dies. You take 0 damage for the rest of the turn. Wing Karibo's my
It
little
sucks.
buddy.
Wing Karibo is so corny. Fake ass fucking mascot. They wanted to make more fucking plushies.
Dude,
but go
there's
on.
a winged Karibo in every season. Get over it. They have Rainbow Karibo. You could build an entire deck with Karibo monsters.
Yeah, they suck.
Okay, stop coping then.
Exodia decks are cooler. Suck my balls.
Okay, cool. Anyways, then we go to 5Ds. 5Ds. There's never been more of a Yu-Gi-Oh series than I have watched, and I think Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds was kind of the first one I watched and followed as like that was the first weekly series I watched as a kid. I loved the pacing of Yu-Gi-Oh, and then like even sitting back and rewatching it, I love how quick and snappy they are. They don't the amount. There's like 1 or 2 filler episodes. Like there's the amount of filler episodes in the original is a very small handful compared to what they did in season 2. I loved in season 1 that there was very few fillers. They got straight to the point. They got straight to the plot line. The rivalry with Jack Atlas, the theme with the dragons was really nice. The Dark Signer arc was incredible. The tournament arc was fine. They were able to lead up to everything so wonderfully. At the end, aha, here's Crow. He's one of the signers, which I thought was cool. Not a big fan of season 2 because it really felt like they really just dragged their feet into the mud when, unfortunately, most of the action done in the World Cup and the tournament was only shown in Shonen Jump. It was never animated. So we literally fast forward, we get all this nonsensical filler to then all of a sudden, oh, here's the semifinals, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? How did we get here? I didn't like so that's why I put season 1 of 5Ds up there. Zexal was also pretty close. I did watch Zexal, watched every episode growing up, but I feel like the second you turn 18, it's not. I feel like that kind of is like the cutoff for it.
The second,
it would have been. It would have been Arc 5. It would have been Arc 5. That would have been the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc. I fucking.
God, you are okay. Well, chat. If you wonder why we haven't argued yet, it's because we all have relatively similar opinions. Here's where we're gonna argue. I fucking hate 5Ds. Well, I shouldn't say hate because hate's a strong word. I think 5Ds is stupid. Fucking dueling on motorcycles sucks. I don't like it.
What can
it's
I say?
too
the
gimmicky.
creator of Yu-Gi-Oh had a kink where, you know what, we're riding on motorcycles. Fuck it.
Look, I get there's a lot of whack shit going on, and it's really dumb to be like, Wow, it's kind of funny that you say motorcycles is where you draw the line. Oh no, fucking dude! I don't want to. This is too dumb. This is too wacky. Too fucking wacky.
Okay.
But I will say this: base for GX. GX is a good show. And Nick,
answer
Nick,
Frank, Zexal has a lot of memorable duels, but I couldn't stand Yuma. Love the memorable duels was when they didn't involve Yuma Tsukumo, or when they were a tag team battle, when it was Titan Yuma versus Trey and Quattro. I thought that was cool. I love the numbers theme, but the fact that it starts with Utopia and it ends with Utopia, and I just got sick and tired of seeing Utopia. So that's kind of where my shtick kind of ended with Zexal. I like it. I think there's a lot of really great, memorable duels. Just none of them involve you with Tsukumo.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but keep in mind, Xyz summoning is cool. Anyone
my
who
favorite
hates
summoning
Xyz
method.
summoning hates fun.
If
Now,
I always would have like my own made up decks, and all of them used Xyz summoning. I love
dude,
the
Xyz summoning is so fucking cool.
It's
People need
simple.
whimsy in their life, like
It's
Xyz summoning. If you've tried liking Xyz summoning and hated it, try it again.
I like Utopia, but it was here's double or nothing. I activate one of Utopia's overlay units. It negates its attack. Activate spell card double or nothing, allowing Utopia to attack again for double the damage. Did you know we surrounded this around 100 number cards? And this is literally the only fucking one that Yuma uses? Why do you think I was so excited to see Shark or Kite dueling? Because it's like, oh, dear, thank God, it was a break from seeing the same shit over and over again. Although I will say, when Yuma was using the Dingens archetype, that was cool because it was different, and each of them had their own effects. He never ever used them again. It just got so repetitive that everything was building towards his raid boss monster, which was just something I just wasn't used to particularly seeing.
But Luke, what about Yuma's little helper? What about Yuma's fucking
funny.
goat?
Astral was fun. I liked Astral. He was fun. He was fine. It just Zexal doesn't stand very high on the list. I did like the last duel between Astral and Yuma. I thought that was absolutely incredible to see. But yeah, I mean Zexal's good. It's just it's not on the childhood list. I think it's got to go to GX and first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5. I like.
Nick, did you understand anything that was just said?
I understand some of it. Look, it's just not my thing, okay? I didn't grow up like this, okay? That's not my thing. It was before my time. Like, it is what it is, okay?
And like something to note too is like I didn't have Disney Channel. I didn't have Cartoon Network. I didn't have those channels growing up. I didn't get them till I was 14. So especially for Canada too, we got things a lot later. So most of my stuff was what I could like. I watched the CW mornings, which
Dude,
was the
CW Vortex was so lit growing up. I love CW Vortex.
Dude, I grew up on. I watched like I had a great routine. I would watch the newest episode of Pokemon on YTV, and then we would jump straight to the Vortex on the CW. We would jump to the CW to see the newest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh. Like it was beautiful, and then they had 2 episodes of the original Yu-Gi-Oh as well, which is something I really was able to catch up and watch all like especially when they went to the originals, which I really liked. I really wish they would go to would rotate between the original Yu-Gi-Oh and GX, but that's just
No, that's so fair. Anywho, Nick, for future reference, if you want to determine which is which, base Yu-Gi-Oh is with the Yu-Gi you know. GX is in high school. 5Ds is on University. 5Ds is on motorcycles. Zexal is with Xyz summoning. Arc 5
is fun. It's
stupid.
Shut up.
You like Fanboy and Chum Chum. You like Fanboy and Chum Chum. Taegan, go to number 2.
Okay, number 2. So these number 2 are just there's nothing better. However, with my number 2, as much as it really hurts me to say it, I gotta go with SpongeBob. SpongeBob, in my opinion, is probably the greatest cartoon of all time. However, it's the greatest cartoon of all time for a small portion of its span. At other times, it's just a pretty good cartoon show. And at worst, ouch. It's hard to really like. I want to give SpongeBob like the number 1, but you can't ignore some of its flaws. But even then, SpongeBob is what not cartoons, is what all cartoons should strive to be. There's one better that I had to do based on principle alone, but yeah, SpongeBob. It pains me, but it's third. I mean, it's second place. It yeah, like SpongeBob's cultural impact is nothing to be deterred by, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I gotta realize that for my list, I unfortunately forgot to put Gravity Falls on my list, so that is quite unfortunate. But if anyone wants to know where that would be in my top 5. But my 1 and 2 are not unchanged because at number 2, I also have SpongeBob.
Yeah, I know where me and Nick are going with this. I know where.
Sorry to just the famous SpongeBob is completely agree. If you take like the first couple of seasons, even a little more than that, SpongeBob is the greatest cartoon ever made, and that is something I think a lot of people would agree with because the first couple of seasons of SpongeBob are just they're peak. What can be said? They are peak, and SpongeBob is one of those shows for as bad as seasons got later on, whether that be season 6 and 7, or the fact that it feels now that SpongeBob is just more and more turning into like a freaking. God, I hate to say it about SpongeBob, but it feels like a lot of SpongeBob episodes now they give a lot more Coco Melon vibes, and that hurts me to say. That hurts me to say that, but it's just the vibes it gives. But SpongeBob at its absolute best is just unbeatable. And SpongeBob is one of those shows where it's something that can be enjoyed by both kids and adults, and that's always something special for a show to have, especially like SpongeBob. And the main thing about SpongeBob is just I can't imagine a world, a cultural landscape that doesn't feature SpongeBob. Like SpongeBob feels like one of those shows that's always been around. Granted, in my case, it has always been around, but it's hard to imagine a world where SpongeBob wasn't a thing. It's like how the hell do you live like that? How the hell do you
How the hell
does the
did
world
Bill
feel
Clinton?
normal to you?
How the hell did Bill Clinton last without SpongeBob in office?
I mean, it's the reason why I say SpongeBob is on the Mount Rushmore of the top cartoons of all time. It's on there. It so deserves a spot on that mountain. It's still airing new episodes today. It is all of it is just like a perfect storm. They I feel like they're rejuvenated even with like the newer episodes, just with the new art style that they've been going on. Like they have done a great job of keeping this show fresh for a show that's as old as I am.
I mean, SpongeBob's basically gone from a show that, basically was starting out as getting renewed season by season to the point where now it's basically one of those shows in the same way something like General Hospital is.
Yeah. Or
Or just
fucking
it runs daily.
Grey's Anatomy.
It just runs daily and it never ends. That's the way SpongeBob kinda is.
It's during the arc of Family Guy, The Simpsons, like TV shows that I don't see ending. Very.
I'd argue, and I will say this until I die. I'd argue that SpongeBob is more popular than Mickey Mouse. I 110% agree to believe that within my heart. No one knows. Not everyone knows who Mickey Mouse is, but I guarantee you, everyone knows who SpongeBob is.
Yeah.
I think most people do know who Mickey Mouse is, but I think in terms of like the current day audience, in terms of if you were to ask someone who do you know more of, Mickey Mouse or SpongeBob? Chances are they'd say SpongeBob because Mickey Mouse doesn't really get as featured as much in terms of the way he used to get featured. So SpongeBob would win that battle.
Yeah. Fuck, man. It's just. It's hard to put it in third. It's hard to put it in second place, but cookie crumbles, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Luke, what's your second place?
Well, number 2 goes to Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I mean, I am a big Star Wars fan. Especially growing up, every Christmas, always episodes 1 through 6. But there's never been a show. There's never been somebody that, especially in this many whom in the Star Wars community, considers Dave Filoni to be mini George Lucas. What he's done with the Clone Wars, what he's done with the space, like again, it's an example of, you look at especially how they go over the first 2 seasons. They're not the greatest, a little bit rough around the edges, but they didn't know where they wanted to really take in the direction of it. But little do they know, with what they did with the Clone Wars, they easily made, like, most people didn't have episode 3 very high on their list. And they showed that the Clone Wars saved one of their biggest characters in all of Star Wars. Someone who we finally got to see work with Dave Filoni in, Hayden Christensen. He was hard for how poorly did as Anakin. But then here comes Star Wars: The Clone Wars, essentially redeeming the character redemption of Anakin Skywalker through the Clone Wars is something that needs to be studied. It is. I'm not putting this into words of how well they expanded the character, how they expanded the Star Wars universe, how they respected the lore of Star Wars, that how many diehard Star Wars fans consider it to be peak Star Wars at its highest peak, something to where, unfortunately, when Disney bought Lucasfilms, they unfortunately had to cancel it. But one of the things that they were able to do with it was they did the forgotten episodes of Star Wars in the last 4, where unfortunately it was at the time where they couldn't really find a way to put a nice bow on it, where the final arc where Master Yoda discovers immortality, the arc where he learns that it's not when he kind of discovers in himself that where the future of the Clone Wars live on, where how they're able to show the viewer in season 6 is basically spelling out who's all behind, but to keep the heroes in the dark of it all. Like the Fives arc was really great. Yoda discovering immortality and discovering what the end of the Clone Wars is going to be, and at the end of it, where the final showdown between Yoda and Palpatine, he couldn't break Master Yoda to learn that the Clone Wars must go on for a lot longer than he wants it to go on in order for his plans to come through. To where how you could literally have a 6-hour edit of the clone of episode 3, the finale of the Clone Wars in season 7. The fact that Disney greenlit it for as a Disney Plus show was absolutely amazing. You go through every single season of the Clone Wars, see how beautiful the world gets, to see how amazing the artwork goes, the characters that they introduced. So Katano, who's again everybody's favorite female Jedi, to where you could use a strong female character and develop her into such great perfection. I will always speak highly about what the Clone Wars has done and the power that it has to completely redeem someone's character and to give a lot of weight to the prequel trilogy, to something that unfortunately I don't think you could do with the sequel trilogy. The fact that they were able to do that with this cartoon show is absolutely amazing, because without it, I don't think people will ever look at episodes like people will ever look at episodes 1, 2, 3 other than the original trilogy was better. I love the Clone Wars. I absolutely love for everything that is done. I can't wait to watch this show with my kids. It is going to be one of those shows where me and my kids are going to sit around the table and we are going to watch every single episode. I'm showing my fiance this series because I absolutely love it. It is my favorite, and it's something that will continue to be my favorites for the longest time ever.
I just find the funniest thing about the Clone Wars is like the film itself bombed so fucking hard. It was so ass.
It was bad.
And then the TV show comes out, and suddenly people are like, "Oh shit, this might be peak."
Here's the thing: like, the first 2 seasons are rough, but what they were was building blocks for the characters that they introduced, to where everything kind of makes sense. And again, I'm someone that still can't watch episode 8 and 9, but man, if anything, the Clone Wars movie has such a it's a guilty pleasure watch. I fucking love that movie. I love how it's just a really introductory blueprint, even though they could have done a 4-episode arc. But their arcs are, again, so good. Like R2 has an arc. Like they're able to expand on other characters, and it just, again, there's so much work still for Dave Filoni that they're doing, to where he's getting his own fucking movie with The Mandalorian and Grogu in 2026, which I can't wait for. But it's, again, the reason why people say that Dave Filoni was the apprentice of George Lucas. He's absolutely loved everything that Dave Filoni has done. Unlike Acolyte, I still haven't seen it. I can't. I just can't do it. I would lose a bet in my soul with, I just do it, man. I can't do it. But Clone Wars always has a big place. Not number 1, but Star Wars does hold a huge place in my heart.
Yeah, and just to give my thoughts on it, like, I completely agree what you said about Dave, and I completely agree on the fact that the prequels wouldn't be as well regarded as they are without the Clone Wars. They just wouldn't.
There's right, like the fact, you're able to redeem the greatest story that will be told was the redemption of Anakin Skywalker's character, to where my dream came true, to see Hayden Christensen and Dave Filoni working together and seeing, again, there's such a loud, what Star Wars fans want is give us Dave Filoni, give us Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen in the Clone Wars. We've been dying for that. It's so good. I can't wait. They recently announced this week, Star Wars Tales, Bounty. I don't know. Underworld. Star Wars Tales Underworld with Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress. I can't wait for that. That's gonna be really, really good. Tales of the Empire kind of flopped a little bit, but I really hope they can really nail Underworld because I saw Vengeance and Cad Bane. Fantastic. I mean, also like it's very rare to get the continuation of the clones in the Bad Batch. You got the story continued, and we could potentially get even the after story of that being continued to connect to Rebels. Like the fact that even though the Clone Wars got canceled, they still were able. Well, when it got acquired by Disney, they were able to continue some plot points in Rebels that wouldn't have normally been continued otherwise. I think that was incredibly cool. But man, Star Wars: The Clone Wars is a huge place in my. It might not be what everybody's favorite is, but damn, it's sure very high on mine.
By the way, last thing, I just looked on Dave Filoni's Wikipedia page, and I looked at animation credits, and I see that he worked on the animation for the early seasons of King of the Hill. Just a fun little fact. Yeah. Anyways, time for number one.
Well, Nick, I think we both know what we have at our number one. Let's say it on three. 1, 2, 3. Regular show.
Regular show.
Yep.
I think
I knew as soon as we both picked SpongeBob, we both were going regular show. Yeah, there's just no bad season of regular show.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I'll say about regular show, it was an episodic show that went to a more tighter script instead of Adventure Time that started like that, then went to that, then kind of went back and forth. Regular show, it's perfect. Honestly, and I get this sounds kind of lame, but I'm kind of worried that they're rebooting it, about the reboot, mostly because I don't feel like it needs to be. However, I think regular show is a damn near perfect show. I do not think that there is a single show that can kind of come close to, like, besides SpongeBob, I don't think there's a show that comes close to it. There's almost nothing bad about a regular show. You could say Mordecai's a simp and all that kind of stuff, but at least the whole Mordecai's a simp thing has lasted a hell of a lot shorter than the whole Finn is a simp thing.
True.
It's fucking amazing, man. Not to mention, too, it has a good movie. There's a lot of times where people will just be like, "Oh, well, the movie's just kind of okay." No, the regular show movie is good. It's like really good. Not to mention, too, you can actually see people change throughout it. Like, Rigby starts off as a fucking absolute goddamn dickhole, but yet by the very end, he's a person that's probably a lot more better than Mordecai in every single aspect.
Absolutely. Like, the evolution of Rigby in regular show is, without question, one of the best things to really happen in regular show, because it's very noticeable, but it takes a while for it to happen, and when it does happen, it's just, it really does just, they really nail it, and that's something I really love about regular shows. They nailed so much of it. Like, I think about the fact that, similar in a way to what Squidward is to SpongeBob, I think about Benson and the role he plays in the show, and it's like he probably plays the most important role in the show, because similar to how I considered Squidward to be the glue of SpongeBob, I consider the same for Benson with regular show. Like, he is such an important character on the show, and he's similar to what I said about why I love King of the Hill so much. So much of regular show feels real. it feels so real and so realistic, even considering which it's crazy that I say this show feels realistic, considering some of the fucking batshit insane stuff that happens on this show, which that is another thing that makes this show #1 for me. Literally, all you have to do is trip over a wire, and now the entire fate of the universe is in danger. That's all. That's literally the damn script of so many episodes, but it works because it's so good.
Well, not only that too, but it's also just like a lot of this really depends on Mordecai and Rigby being genuinely entertainable. And the thing is, it really relies on the two of them. And the best part about it is that even when you feel like you have enough of them, there's still a shit ton of characters you get to explore. Like Muscle Man, fucking Benson, like you said, Skips. Skip was the first ever like special like they did with him in that. Not to mention too, fucking Mark Hamill's just like a part of this for no reason at all.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's one of my favorite things, the fact that Mark Hamill's in this show. And speaking of characters with that are very important to the plot, can't forget Pops.
Pops too. Pops is still probably my least favorite of the cast, but I still think he's fucking he's a good part of the show.
Especially the ending.
The saddest thing that I'll say about regular show, with the amount of insane and whack shit that goes on, the fact that they never did a on TV crossover with any other show is incredibly sad.
Yeah,
At
it
least
is a
for
damn
me.
shame it is a damn shame we never got a crossover with Adventure Time, which I know they wanted to do that at some point. It's just damn.
It's just it sucks, but you know, it's a fucking amazing show. I think a lot of people who bitch and moan about season 8 being in space, being a little weak, I get it. I do. But also stop whining, stop your bitching. It's still cool. Get whimsy.
Yeah, like the worst season of regular show is better than a lot of the best seasons for other shows. That's all I'll
I
say.
Here's the thing. And here's kind of what decided me. While I would consider like SpongeBob's first 3 to 4 seasons to be 10 out of 10s, no flaws, regular show is like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. It really just fluctuates back and forth. Like regular show, it always has something left to improve, and there's never a nagging feeling of you wish something could have. There's never a nagging feeling of something could have been done better. Like most of the time, it's just nitpick. Like you have to really squeeze down.
Yeah, you really have to grasp at straws, basically.
Not to mention, too, I still think the worst episode of regular show probably better than a lot of the best episodes of some other shows. But yeah, regular show is just fucking amazing, man.
It really is.
But Luke, what's your #1?
Well, I mean, before I get to my #1, I mean, I will say something. I was waiting to see what the other would be, but I would have to say it would either be regular show on the Mount Rushmore or Hanna-Barbera. A lot of amazing works. For cartoons, all of really good, like Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, like all the stuff that I consider to be good. But for me, and again, no one's ever gonna see this coming. This is gonna be like, look, what the actual fuck? But this is my list. It's not your list. #1 would be the Pokemon, the Sinnoh Saga. Yeah, I'm a Pokemon fan. After all, my favorite thing growing up was the Sinnoh Saga. It was like same thing with Battle. When Battle Beat 'em on ended, I think that's when they started the Sinnoh Saga. that was when every single week until they caught up to the US, a new episode of Pokemon was aired every single day. I watched the heck out of that. I started playing Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl. I loved it. Like Sinnoh overall is like one of my favorite regions of Pokemon. I mean, it's Ash's like team with the region, and like it all like the best rival that I have ever seen. Their battles that they had against each other were more legendary than when he was facing Gary in the original. Like those, they haven't yet to make a rival that hits like when it was Ash versus. It was amazing the story that they had, especially with Dawn with Contest. I feel like Contest in the Hoenn era, they were still experimenting with what did they want to do, and then it really like it. They walked so Sinnoh could run, basically. Dawn was a great character. All the characters that they brought back were amazing when they brought back May. And all leading up to with Team Galactic with the legendaries, the side gags with Gibble, and all accumulating to when Ash used every single Pokemon, bringing back some of the favorites that everybody had at the Sinnoh League was absolutely amazing. Not a big fan of how the Sinnoh League kind of ended, but like they built everything up and it ended so masterfully. There are reasons why people absolutely love Sinnoh. Unfortunately, the transition to Unova was, oh dear God, not so good. Which is why I say Sinnoh was easily one of my favorites. Something that I was able to look forward to easily. Sinnoh was easily my favorite region. It hits the number one spot because I feel like if we're looking at childhood favorites growing up, it has to be the Sinnoh Saga. That was when I was a kid. I watched as much as I could watch growing up, and it was when I really got into Pokemon. My first Pokemon game too. So that's kind of where it hits. That's where it goes number one for me. Otherwise, it would have been Star Wars. But yeah, I love the Sinnoh Saga. Easily one of my favorite growing up with YTV and not Disney or fortunately cartoon. Yeah, Sinnoh's my number one.
Fair enough.
Quick honorable mention on my part, or actually dishonorable mention. I'm gonna say something real quick, and I don't need judge. I get it. I don't need judge though. I used to own the High Fructose Adventures of Annoying Orange on DVD growing up.
I watched the High Fructose Adventures of Annoying Orange too. I
Yeah,
thought it was
absolute
funny
fever
for like
dream.
5 seconds, and then
That
it
show
was
was an absolute fever dream.
then the
Now you
shit
want?
got annoying.
Oh no, you want to know what's funny? I'm looking through their fucking like guest list. Um, who wanted to? Who forgot to tell me that fucking Danny Trejo was a fucking guest character in this show? Who didn't tell me that fucking Tony Hawk was in an episode of this show?
I mean, it was in this era where TV would like again. The Fred had his own TV show, and they brought him on like a different kind of show. Fred was an actor for 2 shows. Like it
Oh,
was
Marvin, that's a funny ass
I
show.
Oh
know,
God,
right?
yeah.
Like it was in that era of oh my god, people love YouTube. Let's bring them over and find out. Oh, it was a bad idea, and we're never going to do it again. Yeah, so I mean, it's just a weird era where it's like, let's see how kids love YouTubers for. Oh, it didn't work.
I mean, I don't think it all failed. I just look. I still like the Fred movies. I think they're harmless fun.
Again, you're
I-
allowed to love smoking cigarettes, but I agree with
mean,
you.
I'm not gonna say they're good or anything, but you know what? The Fred movies feature John Cena, and that is funny in its own right.
But look, Lucas Cruikshank got 8 through a fucking table. That in and of itself is worth money.
Yeah,
It's
he
fuck the
convinced some
whole.
studio to give him the budget to make 4 movies, and that earns my respect.
I just have fuck. Yeah, fuck. Shit ton of weird shows happened in the 2010s. I can't believe they just kind of let some of this shit be allowed.
That is
Like, I get it.
true.
Some
I think they were because like it's a good era where if like it was I think like the downfall of Nickelodeon, because they did like Victorious was good, but it did
no,
hold up, Taegan, calm your tits for 5 seconds. Victorious was good, but it was never going to have the same cultural impact as iCarly had. iCarly was a fucking juggernaut. I mean, the Disney Channel had Phineas and Ferb, and I think Shake It Up. People really loved Shake It Up. They like Disney had its own shows, but like once iCarly ended, Nickelodeon didn't really have much going
yeah,
on. They tried to again. You don't get Planet Sheen if you have literally no idea what to do, and the fact that you could have had regular show or Adventure Time, or you could have had one of those two, and you're like, I know what we're gonna do. Fatboy and Sugar.
yeah. I
Look,
will. I will.
I'm glad I mentioned. I'm glad I mentioned Planet Sheen. I'm glad I mentioned that.
Look, I will. I will say this too. First off, Planet Sheen had a decent theme. It deserved to exist off of that alone.
Oh.
Um, the last good sitcom that uh, Nickelodeon produced was Sam and Cat,
Yeah.
which it is crazy to think the actual star power from those two right now. Like Jeanette McCurry, like granted she's not like Ariana Grande level right now,
But
but
people
like
did love her
she's
though.
still but she was fucking amazing. Like she still is like a very empowering figure in like places
Unfortunately,
because of her book.
Fortunately, like again, like the whole backstory of like her entire backstory as Sam Pickett was just oh my god, like the stuff that she had to do as a kid and how she isn't like completely fucked up is incredible. Because we've seen like look at all the Disney stars that have like completely crashed with over the little
Yeah.
like the nonsense that she had to work with where it was iCarly was like again, Jeanette McCurdy says yes. You know, her and oh my god, what the fuck is her name? I'm blanking on it. Miranda Comics Book, like they're still in regular contact. They're still
Yeah.
friends throughout all of this. I really wish she was in the reboot, but they understood. She wanted to be away. And I'm pretty sure they could have made character changes for Sam Pickett too. So, but
Yeah.
I really wish she was
That's-
at least to show up in an episode. But the fact that she wants to leave her acting career entirely behind just speaks volumes. Just damage it does. And
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with Nickelodeon is like they felt like a lot of their originality was gone after. I think it was gone after iCarly because they tried like Victorious was like at least a solid B minus, but like they didn't have any home run hitters. And then you got Cartoon Network that was able to get the big three: Gumball, Adventure Time, regular show, all hitters. I mean, even the Disney still had good, but they didn't have the hitting power that the Cartoon Network had. Like, sure, Phineas and Ferb was great, but they too Disney really struggled with finding a sitcom. Like, they did do Jesse was good. Don't get me wrong, Jesse was good. Shake It Up was great, but they really couldn't find anything really outside of that had that smashing potential. Like even like you could argue like once the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, once that ended, like that was like the big pillar for Disney. There was nothing that they really had, and so yeah, the Cartoon Network that had three of the whole biggest home run hitters in terms of children's entertainment.
Yeah.
Like hats off to them.
I will say this. It's not. I will say this about Disney Channel. I fuck with Lab Rats. I think Lab Rats is cool.
Lab Rats went 4 seasons. Lab Rats was good.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
great. Lab Rats was in the good tier.
Yeah. But like I think that was like the last good one. Because I'm sure Nick will know this one. When fucking Disney Channel was pumping out shit like Dog with a Blog,
Yeah.
fucking gross. Fucking
That's when I kind of stopped watching the Disney Channel. It's like, oh my god! Like the only thing that I like Pair of Kings, but then Mitchell Musso got a DUI and his character got completely written out, which was something that I greatly was like, oh my god, that's why. And that show was never the same, and it had to just end. But I mean, it really need like this. What made like Disney shows was like when you have all characters in unison. Like the side characters are so memorable. There's the reason why, like again, Hannah Montana had a great long run because I liked everybody that was a part of it. Everybody was just so likable. And I mean, I liked Kicking It a lot too, but then a lot of their the side characters, they started to not show them as often, so Ollie kind of dipped.
yeah.
It's insane.
Well-
like this is like I know this is like a little fun thing of like you like growing up, but it shows you like there's like certainly different eras of television that people watch. Like I think Spencer would have had a lot of Hanna-Barbera cartoons that I think he would have mentioned. Like I think he probably would have put like Dexter's
Spencer
Lab.
would have been very 90s, I think.
Very like old and centric. Whereas like you see, this is like kind of like the world where like it's not like the world for Canadians. Like Canadians did get like we had Teletoons, which was basically Cartoon Network, which did air like regular shows, Gumball, and regular show Adventure Time. Like we had those come into Canada about the same time that America got them. But it just the way how I grew up was like we never got those channels until way later on.
Oh no, I just remembered something.
But
Uh-oh.
More like multiple things. I know we were bringing some stuff up, and then I remember you talking about all the live action shows, and then I remembered seeing Real.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Nah. And the one show that I remember from that time, fucking Brain Rush. I remember loving the shit out of Brain Rush. I fucking loved that shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, that's gonna do it for us today for cartoons. Next week we have our mock drafts. That is gonna hopefully be with as much of us as possible. We're kind of like our final mock draft, and then the week after that we have our NHL playoff predictions. Should be interesting. And then this weekend they got Danganronpa, and then I'll be doing Reborn. We still have
Oh,
Actually,
actually,
Taegan, how's it looking?
I still have no idea.
Okay.
There will be a stream on Sunday. For sure, there'll be a stream on Sunday.
Okay.
We might not be doing Danganronpa, though. We will have to see.
Okay, because if Saturday is opened, I think I'll talk to Spence if he just wants to do a U. Because there's a game at 5.
Gotcha.
So I'll see if we can get a watch along. Do it. If not, or I just might just. It depends upon how bored I am. I might stream Reborn. But you're gonna get Reborn from me for the next week. I need a break from Radical Red. It was a fairly not super deep, but deep enough to where I need some time off from it. Runs like that is especially in between streams, I was EV training manually, and until I got to Lavender Town, each Pokemon took about 45 minutes to do, and that was with speed up. And so I need a little time to like decompress. Hopefully I'm definitely gonna get back on the horse and complete it, but I'm gonna need a week to do it, so I'm just gonna see how far I can get in Reborn, and then got Martian Madness Tuesday. We got Martians on Tuesday, and yeah, I got streams every day. Mariners video will be hopefully done a lot earlier. I just wasn't so sure. I didn't like it how it turned out. I tried doing it a couple times this morning, and then I also hated how it turned. It's like, oh fuck it, here's the first one. First one's fine.
Yeah, I feel that.
So yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us today. Also, thanks for 134 subscribers. We haven't done the
Oh, yeah.
celebration yet,
Ooh.
but 134 subs.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Shout out to that, and yeah. Beware if you're gambling on the Renegades and the Battlehawks. We're so sorry. We cost you your Jersey Mike's points. But take care, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Or though
Yeah.
someone's gonna see you next time. I don't know who yet. Peace.